We'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia. This is USC linebacker Mo Cobbler, and you're listening to 107.5, The Game, home of the Gamecocks. A Cumulus media station. The early game with Phil Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Shin Jensen. So, no, Preston is crushing it this morning.
He's showing what 4 years of education can do, and then 7 years later.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5, The Game. Of this show. And also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach, 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Up and at 'em, kids. It's Groundhog Day, a day that for 41 years I've never really known what I'm supposed to do with my hands. Like, you know, when you were in kindergarten or first or second grader, you know, when you were kind of in school and you knew it was some kind of special day, but you weren't real sure what the day was all about. That's Groundhog's Day.
Punxsutawney Phil.
Yeah. Got to see if he sees the shadow and what we got, winter or summer or spring or.
It's just a party. It's just a party. The people out there they're partying. It's just a good time.
41 years. It was the 41st year of my life that I realized how big this party is. Are you aware of?
Big deal. Big deal. Big time party. There's probably a live stream. I remember one time I got caught up on a live stream checking out what was going on out there. So yeah, there's a lot going on.
To your point, I was watching the news yesterday and they were kind of showing the town and kind of the thing, right? I mean, for example, it makes sense, I guess, the way movies are. But, you know, they didn't film the movie Groundhog Day in Punxsutawney.
That makes sense.
They actually filmed it in Woodstock, Illinois.
Okay.
So, you know, my knowledge of Punxsutawney was exactly what I've seen in the movie. That was the extent of my knowledge. But they were yesterday kind of one of the news channels was like showing things around and they were interviewing a little convenience store right across from where I think everything is actually at. And the lady's like, yeah, they're going to be out here in just a little while, 4 o'clock today. They'll start drinking and partying and it's neat, but it's a nuisance. And I was like, 4 o'clock today and it's not warm up there. This isn't St. Patrick's and 5 Points in about a month when you might get a semi-chilly day, but by and large, it's nice. It's cold up there.
Yeah, for sure. That's part of the charm. You go out there, you're cold, you warm up, you indulge, and then you see the little rascal come out or not.
Pull the poor fella out.
And you hold him up, we cheer, then we go home. So I'm for it.
Minor miracle that he's never bitten anybody, I guess.
You know.
Just annoyed, poor little. It's a rodent, isn't it?
Yes.
Tyler the groundhog is a rodent.
As far as I know,
I believe he's in that family.
This is kind of one of those things. If somebody decided to start it in 2024, people be like, "This is dumb. We're not doing this." But
Absolutely.
Since it's been going on for however many years, like, oh yeah, of course, Groundhog Day.
Man, Tyler, you are 100% correct on that. Because if somebody just made a TikTok of pulling a rodent out of a hole, it'd be like, those people do anything for clicks nowadays.
I beg to differ. I think if we started this today, it would be some kind of. I mean, it's already a. Again, I never understand how exactly to accept Groundhog Day, like because it's kind of made it. You've got this huge party in Punxsutawney. Apparently, they've got a few other groundhogs in the United States that want to make predictions. I believe there's some kind of general in Atlanta that makes the Southeast. Apparently a beaver had to step in out in Portland and fulfill the needs, and that beaver was apparently pretty bad, missed like 9 out of 10 years. I don't know, but going back to it, like my days in like elementary and middle school, you're like, I know it's a big day. Everybody's really excited about it. I just don't know what we're not giving out candy, you know.
Do we have a record of how accurate the groundhog has been?
Yes.
Because it also varies regionally. Like, I mean, we can have spring starting in late January here, and it may still be snowing up north. Like, it doesn't apply everywhere.
That's part of the charm of these events. Before we got so globalized, you could be right in one area, and that would make you right everywhere because nobody else knew what was going on in the rest of the country.
I guess so.
So, yeah, I think the safe bet if he was going to take the Vegas odds is that he's going to see his shadow, and it's going to be 9 more months of blistering cold.
It is.
Take the under.
Coming in, I was listening to the news, and of course today the Punxsutawney now has, it's getting mass coverage, and say we'll see if we get one of these TVs on. I'll see if I can pull it. Remember, Jen last year had the live stream.
Mm-hmm.
Little test for you, Tyler, to see if you can live up to Jen. Last year she actually had the live stream. She somehow had it run through the computer, and so at certain times we come back because they're playing that. I think we did the polka music thing last year.
Do we know what time like the ceremony is?
I want to say it's around 7:30 or 8 a.m.
Okay. We will have live coverage of the Groundhog.
I'm not 100% sure, and I think I'm thankful that I don't have a ton of knowledge. I just, when you get into high school later on, you'd be sitting in your high school class, and somebody would go, "Hey, the Groundhog saw its shadow," and you're like, "Yeah, that's cool. I got like a few more hours here."
So this might be a generational thing because, like, by the time I came up, nobody talked about Groundhog Day. Like, if you wouldn't have mentioned it, I never would have thought about it today, to be honest with you.
I don't know. I mean, maybe so. For us or for me growing up,
like I remember maybe once or twice in elementary school, maybe we did something with that, but as the years went by, just nobody talked about it anymore.
For me growing up, it was the teachers and the, hey, and then you do a few little things at your school, like, you'd have like, all right, draw your best groundhog. And I was like, I don't know what it looks like to begin with. Is it a bird? Is it a, plane? What is a groundhog? And it took years of looking at it to be like, all right, that's what a groundhog is. It's like a big rat.
Fair assessment.
Comes out, yeah, I don't know, but what is a groundhog? But yeah, no, but it would be a big deal, at least in Lexington, at least through the Lexington School District 1. But it wasn't, again, it wasn't accompanied by a party. Remember when you were in elementary school and you would get cupcakes like for someone's birthday or for a big day?
Sure.
It wasn't cupcakes that came with it. So I was like, you guys are telling me this is a big deal, but you're not really showing me it's a big deal. And they would never wheel in a TV for us to watch.
Yeah, it's definitely not on the level of wheel-in TV level. We saved that for turning time.
And just in case,
occasion, it's not that.
And just in case you're wondering, you were bringing up, if we started, the Punxsutawney Groundhog Club was formed in 1899.
Yeah, there was not a lot going on in 1899.
It's like, hey, what do you want to do on this cold February day?
Let's definitely sit around
see
this hole.
This groundhog sees his shadow, and we'll tell people if winter's going to stick around or not.
It's a German tradition, for those of you wondering. This is the educational.
I don't know
portion.
if anybody else is wondering, though. I think that's to Tyler's point. I don't know if anybody else is wondering.
I got to imagine back in 1899, science was coming along pretty well at that point in time. There had to be scientists that were furious about this. Like, no, that's not how this works.
the initial meteorologists are like, no, that guy's not right ever. He's never right.
Hey, sounds like modern day. Who knows? Trust the groundhog coming out of the hole or science, whatever. This is a perfect Twitter event, actually. 1899, 2024. Sounds about right.
So this is the 125th anniversary then.
Ooh, it's a big one.
Big deal.
Big one. Somebody let Punxsutawney Phil know that this is a big one.
There we go. Now we got people. General Beauregard in Georgia is the groundhog we care about in the South. Did you two know that?
I've heard the name. Honestly, I haven't given it much thought.
John weighs in. Didn't they drop him a few years ago? I think he may have gotten a concussion.
Protocol.
They had to replace him. I'm assuming much like Ugas, we're on Punxsutawney Phil the 17th.
Yeah, I don't know what the life expectancy of a groundhog is, but it's probably not 125.
So it's Groundhog Day, and we will celebrate accordingly, as you would expect. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in. Groundhog Day for the women last night, but in a good way. They roll over Auburn 76-54. Not much of a problem. Ashlyn Watkins with 14 points, 15 rebounds. Malaysia Fulwiley, 15 points, and another top 10 SportsCenter top 10 moment last night very similar in a way to the one against Notre Dame in Paris, coming down the right side, going behind the back, flipping it up, laying it in, no problem whatsoever. Camila Cardoso adds 13 points and 6 rebounds. South Carolina rolls last night. It was close at half. The game was streamed on the SEC network, so I don't know. You heard it right here on 107.5 the game. But at halftime, it was only 27-22, Preston.
Mm-hmm. Had to turn it up.
People were fretting. They were worried.
Yeah.
And then, yes, South Carolina rolls 21-13 in the third period, 28-19 in the fourth period, and they win 76-54 last night. 20-0. 20-0. And I now have a question. We're talking about the men's side of things and what they've done. And, that's awesome. It's cool that they've exceeded expectations. I think we're about to learn with this team, and I hope we do. I hope we get to have this discussion, what an undefeated season means. Because there's not many teams, and I don't mean this in the Florida State manner of apparently it doesn't mean much. I mean this in the standpoint of South Carolina's been so good, and last year was so great, and yet didn't win a national championship. I think South Carolina women's basketball is one of the very, 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 very few, maybe because it's basketball and a loss doesn't mean as much as, say, college football, where if you lose, you could be eliminated. I'm about to wonder if an undefeated season is something anybody will celebrate. It's worth celebrating. It should be celebrated. But I'm not sure if anybody around here is going to look at it and be like, yay. They're going to
undefeated with the championship.
Well, undefeated regular season.
Yeah, I got you.
Because of what happened last year and because of the absolute dominance of Dawn Staley's team, I don't know if we will appreciate it. This is that rant that Dabo Sweeney went on a year or two ago. This is what Steve Spurrier has said when he left Florida, is that greatness isn't appreciated because we do it too much.
Yeah, and that there are people that are probably going to think like that, but that is a very incorrect perspective for this team. Last year, if you would have been like, this team went undefeated, understood, because that group of freshies had been together for a long time. We knew who they were. This is a totally different brand of basketball. New players, new action on the court, different style of playing. This is even more incredible than the past seasons because, yes, while they have done it again, it's the same team. It's Dawn Staley. This is not a rerun of – it's not Groundhog's Day of watching South Carolina play basketball. This is a different team. They're hitting outside shots, working the ball around. The three ball is falling. That was not the recipe. So maybe it's up to us to really try and educate people on why this season in particular could be special for them.
You realize they're 20-0. Y'all realize this? This is the level of dominance. They're 20-0, and they've only had 3 games decided by single digits. I mean, it's absurd. Really, you talk about it, but the level of dominance might actually be, I don't know what the average margin of victory is, but the level of dominance may actually exceed what they were doing last year.
There you go.
I mean, it's insane. But last night, 76-54. They'll be back on the court Sunday, 2 o'clock against Mississippi. The game will actually be on ESPN2. You'll be able to hear it right here on 107.5 The Game. We'll get to a little bit of basketball this morning. South Carolina and Georgia tomorrow over at Stegman Coliseum. Why am I worried about this game? Why do I feel like a loss here derails some momentum? I want your opinion on that. Is it because I'm now selling out? I'm all in. I'm talking about the Sweet 16. Like, have I scared myself? I'm trying to tell people to enjoy it.
Are you saying that we've graduated to worrying about the trap game? Have we made it to that point in fandom where it's watch out for those Bulldogs? It's a trap game.
I'm in a very odd place because I've just spent the majority of this week and last week telling people to get in, enjoy, stop fretting, stop worrying about any kind of curse. And now I'm over here like, I don't know about tomorrow.
This is a different side of fandom.
And I will say it's not boy, if they lose, I don't know. It's more like I don't want them to lose. Don't lose. Keep the good times rolling. We'll talk about that a little bit. Get into some Jim Harbaugh from yesterday. Later on, Tyler's going to pull some audio. Jim Harbaugh was doing Jim Harbaugh things yesterday, as you would expect. We have a press conference for Shane Beamer today. We'll tell you a little bit about that. We get an introduction to Joe DeCamillis. So a lot to do this morning, Preston Thorne. A
Yes,
lot
sir.
to do. We got to get in a lot here before you got to get out to go to the school, take the kids out. So we'll talk all about that. 803-404-6100. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner. As you can tell, Tyler Head back in, filling in for Jen Jensen. Wish her well. Let her get better. You're listening to the early game.
Got a take?
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line.
Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen.
803-404-6100.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
1075 The Game.
1075 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Discover Herndon Certified. Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Attention business owners. Tired of parking headaches in your business lot? Get a fresh start with Schroeder's Towing. Call Schroeder's Towing and receive free custom signage, high-quality, eye-catching deterrents for unwanted parking. Call Schroeder's Towing, your partner for stress-free clear lot in 2024. They have over 1,300 reviews and a near 5-star rating backing up their work. Because this year, it's all about a fresh start and a clear lot with Schroeder's Towing.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? I'm Dr. Mark Bentley with Columbia Secret for Weight Loss, and I know the secret. Our unique weight loss program makes it easy.
So Preston has decided we're going to do a deep dive into the Groundhog. I hope you all are prepared for it. Of course, it's odd because aside from the women's game, again, it's another day of not a ton of huge news. Oh, you got an update on last night?
No.
Didn't watch?
Didn't know.
Okay, I'll put that up. We'll get the game back later.
They know what they're doing, and they help you to make the healthier choices. They also encourage you and build you up through the process.
Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month. It's a half a pound to a pound per day. For your free private weight loss consultation, call 803-999-3020. That's 803-999-3020. Or ColumbiaSecretForWeightLoss.com.
Hey, this is Jen Jensen for CHW Cabinetry. My family is using CHW Cabinetry, and they are fantastic to work with. They make sure you're satisfied with every step of the process. Not only do their photorealistic renderings show exactly what your new space will look like, the job site guarantees everyone is on the same page. Literally, experience the CHW difference for yourself. Go to chwcabinetry.com to see more, or call them at 803-520-6837, and be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
At Kroger, shopping with pickup and delivery is the same as shopping in store. Same low prices, deals, and rewards on the same high-quality items. It's one small click for groceries, one big win for busy families everywhere. Start your cart today at Kroger.com. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Right now, you can save big on 12 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or Canada Dry. Select varieties are $3.99 each with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey, this is Ray.
And Mary Ann with Absolute Glass.
We've been blessed to serve the Midlands glass needs for 20 years.
We have been fortunate enough to help thousands of customers with the best glass service in town and our store and all over the Midlands.
Sure, we can fix your windshield, usually at no cost to you.
And at Absolute Glass, we can also repair all your other glass needs too.
Home windows, shower doors, tabletops, shelving, storefronts, and all your commercial needs.
Contact us at 803-951-7200 or at absoluteglassinc.com.
Just remember.
Hot take.
Oh, we got a hot take. You ready? Got a hot take.
Beat the seasons with AAA heated air in the South Carolina Midlands.
Oh.
To upgrade, get a free replacement estimate today. Worried about cost? Don't be. With their guaranteed financing options, comfort.
Their new 12 months of no payments or interest in 2024. Plus, enjoy the assurance of a 15-year parts and labor warranty. Ready for an instant quote? Visit their website today and tell them Bill Gunner with 1075 The Game sent you.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
Hey Gamecocks, Ben Cato. Cold weather is here now, and if you're like me, that probably means you haven't touched your yard equipment in a while. Don't wait until the weeds are knee-high. The service center at Cato's Power Equipment is here to fix any problem, big or small. Let us keep your tools one pull away from getting you back to work. Mention this ad, and we'll throw in a free oil change and fuel flush on any Toro, Gravely, or Aaron Zero Turn, now through March 31st. Only at Cato's Power Equipment, 4012 West Beltline Boulevard, right outside of downtown Columbia.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
All right, it's time to take a look at your traffic around the Midlands for your ride in this morning. Let's see how things are heading out on to the roadways. Do have a few things going on out there right now. Do have a disabled vehicle, I-26 westbound at exit 111, so be careful as you're going through there. And then on the south side of things, have another disabled vehicle, actually. This one going to be out at Alex Sanders Bridge right there at I-77 northbound. Of course, you have your usual construction delays going on through the area of I-26 and I-20. Quick peek of the weather. Currently 39 degrees here in Columbia. High today's going to be 68. Actually, a pretty nice day. Hopefully, you can get outside and enjoy it. That's your weather and traffic here on the early game.
The early game with Bill Gunter.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
And Jen Jensen, your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
.621 on a chilly Friday morning. Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Tyler Head filling in for Jen Jensen. She's still out, a little sick, but she should be back next week, and we will all get back together. But this morning, discussing a little Groundhog Day, and right now a little bit of women's basketball. Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines, where Chip wants to weigh in on last night's game against Auburn. Chip, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
Doing great. I listened to the game last night. I don't have FCC Plus, and it reminded me of the Lady Gamecocks in the first half before Don Staley took over, because we couldn't make a shot. It had open looks at three, so I hear. Must have had good defense, missing layups, and yet we were still winning. I'm thinking, well, Don's going to get their attention at halftime and come out in third quarter, won't be okay. But anyway, still another good win. Our defense must have been great. And I'm going Sunday, so go Lady Gamecocks.
There you go. There you go.
Enjoy the show, guys.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it, Mr. Slaughter. Appreciate you joining us each and every morning. 803-404-6100. Now, Preston, during the break.
Loading. Hot take, loading.
He is gearing up, Tyler. You didn't see the expression on his face. He has come up with something for Groundhog Day. But we're gonna have to put that on ice for just a few minutes. It's coming.
Put it on the back burner, but it's loaded.
I'm excited.
Prepare for a big take. But let's get back to the Love Chevy phone lines. Keith wants to weigh in on Groundhog Day. Keith, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
I'm doing great, guys. I hope y'all are as well. Drew was a kid in the 60s, and it just made me think about when you said, what do they do for Groundhog Day? I'll tell you what we did. Every year as a kid in elementary school, as opposed to Groundhog Day, they rolled out the black and white TVs and we watched the World Series every year. School, just stopped. And whatever class you were in, you watched the World Series. Thought that was interesting. But what I called about, comment on the women, I watched last night. We're 20-0. It's hard to complain. It's a great basketball team. It doesn't really have the superstars of the past, but it's loaded with talent, with length, and defense. But what scares me, if we were playing 2 out of 3, I'd say we'd beat anybody in the country. But it repeatedly shows up, and I hate to be critical. I don't mean it that way. Missed layups and a good ball player off the dribble to the basket kills us. So there's going to be some games as we get down the road where it's going to be nick and tuck, and it just depends on if it's our night or their night. But I do think there are 4 or 5 teams that could give us trouble. But man, when you're 20-0 and we're as deep as we are, I like our chances. But you take the girl last year that killed us with the 3 and with the beating us off the dribble, you got to be concerned about that. But we'll see. Enjoy y'all's show. Have a good one.
You too, Keith. Appreciate the phone call this morning.
Yeah, you feel ridiculous critiquing a team that's 20-0, but I think it's fair if this, if we're judging the team and we have a future in mind for this team, and obviously that is the end goal, is to win a championship, bar none. Then yeah, there might be some things that you can look at and say, well, that could be a possible problem here in the future. I think that's totally fair. Though it feels ridiculous because you're like, okay, they're 20-0, shouldn't have anything to look at. But that's not how it works. There are things that I am positive that they are being corrected upon during practice. So we'll see how that goes.
803-404-6100. Back out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Gamecock Larry wanting to weigh in this morning. Gamecock Larry, how you feeling?
I feel good. Played the worst game in this year, still win by 22. Can't complain. We're going to be okay. But you know what happened to me yesterday? I was sitting here and I got a call saying the oxygen man is 10 minutes from your house. And I got in my wheelchair and everything and went in there to see what I needed. And this gentleman knocked on the door and he walked in and he had a Swansea Tiger shirt on and a Kentucky Wildcat hat. And boy, I had a Wildcat and a Tiger in my house at the same time. And I looked at the head with no Tiger or Wildcat Sammy. He was kind of upset about Kentucky basketball, but I laid it on him. But he took it all right. I guess he got me set up for the month. I don't guess he done anything wrong getting back at me for I ain't making fun of Kentucky, but they sure are. I don't know how. Well, yeah, they rank, but they won't be in the rank next week, I don't think. But that's about all. Well, let me see. I got something else I had on. Oh, yeah. Next Friday, leaving early Friday morning, going to Orlando. Got my wheelchair ramp and everything, going down to Orlando. Gamecock, dragster, and motocross team going down for the first race of the week, first week of the year. And we're going to go do the same thing we done in 2023. Oh, old Gamecock Larry going to be a co-pilot. Can't you see this old 90-year-old gentleman riding around in a 180, 200-mile drag rate? But I got a good driver, got good mechanics. I'm ready to go. Just got keep my insurance paid up. But that's all right. I just want to let you know we're going to be okay in basketball. We're going to beat Georgia Saturday. We're going to beat Georgia. We're going to be ranked number 14 next Monday afternoon. We're going to be 14, at least 14. But that's all I got to say. I love all of y'all. Go Gamecocks. Talk to you later. I'll call you Monday. No, this ain't this. I'm going to. Okay, I'll be back. I'll be here Monday, but I don't know about the next Monday. Go Gamecocks. Talk to you later. Love all y'all.
There you go. If you're putting Gamecock Larry's calendar into your calendar and keeping up, now you're a little more up to date here on Friday, February the 2nd. Appreciate hearing from you, big guy. Glad you're doing well. 803-404-6100. Preston, this hot take involves groundhogs, their percentages. What are we going with next?
Overrated.
Oh, overrated groundhogs?
Yep.
Like all-time overrated groundhogs, or groundhogs are just overrated?
No, there are specific groundhogs who are overrated.
We got a depth chart.
We're looking at you, Tony Phil.
Oh, boy.
Fraud.
We're going to take him down the live stream of Groundhog Day.
Prime.
Groundhog Day live stream starts here in a minute. Oh, washed up.
The game has passed them by, Bill.
It's a hot take. 803-404-6100. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner. He's producer. Tyler Head filling in for Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
The game will be at the beach, in the PD, and the Midlands. That almost covers the whole Palmetto State. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
The Mega Millions jackpot for Friday is $333 million. Be sure to stop by your local South Carolina Education Lottery retailer and get your ticket today. See SCEducationLottery.com for jackpot odds and a store near you.
Hey guys, Jay Phillips here for Integrated Media. You know they've been the Midlands leader in home theater for the past 2 decades for installation of amazing 4K televisions and surround sound systems to Wi-Fi that works everywhere. No one else compares to their customer service and quality. And now the guys at Integrated Media have expanded their brand to provide a state-of-the-art golf simulator experience next to their offices in Chapin. Pro Swing is what it's called. The golf simulators by Golf Zone have automatic tees. You don't have to bend over to set up your next shot. Amazing swing plate moving up to 24 different directions for a truly lifelike experience. The playing surface has simulated greenside and fairway bunkers, even 2 different cuts of rough to bring a real life experience inside with 68 degrees of air conditioning every day. One golfer can play 18 holes in about an hour, 2 in 2, with selections of non-alcoholic drinks, domestic and craft beer. It's fun for the entire family. To book a tee time or to get golf lesson packages, visit ProSwingColumbia.com or call 803-948-8327. Have a blast with Pro Swing and Integrated Media.
The highly anticipated return of Queens of the Stone Age, The End is Nero Tour. May 8th, Firefly Distillery, North Charleston. With special guest Royal Blood. On sale Friday at LiveNation.com. New album, End Times New Roman. Available now. Presented by Live Nation.
Hey, this is Jen Jensen for CHW Cabinetry. My family is using CHW Cabinetry, and they are fantastic to work with. They make sure you're satisfied with every step of the process. Not only do their photorealistic renderings show exactly what your new space will look like, their job site guarantees everyone is on the same page, literally. Experience the CHW difference for yourself. Go to chwcabinetry.com to see more or call them at 803-520-6837 and be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
Nothing says I love you like a clean home. This Valentine's Day, call the cleaning pros at Zerorez right now. Mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for $109, plus a free hallway. Book online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
Get your taste buds ready. Chicken Parm just got an upgrade. The new Chicken Parmesan Meatball Sub from Firehouse Subs is made with savory chicken meatballs and a bright marinara sauce topped with shaved Parmesan, melted provolone, and crispy Italian seasoned breadcrumbs, served on a toasted garlic bread roll. Try the new Chicken Parmesan Meatball Sub for a limited time only at Firehouse Subs. Order online or on the app today. They make their subs differently because their subs can make a difference every day. Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs. Save more lives.
Introducing Herndon Certified. Herndon Certified used vehicles are quality assured and come with our 60-day warranty, complete with nationwide coverage. Don't just buy a used car. Buy a Herndon Certified used car and drive with confidence, knowing Herndon's got you covered. Find your perfect pre-owned in-store or online at HerndonChevy.com.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile, smile.
At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we know how serious injuries change people's lives. I'm Jason Reynolds. When you're involved in a major car or truck accident, my team is on your side. You don't have to be alone. Let's do this together.
And I'm Steven Samuels. When you're hurt at work, my team is with you from start to finish. We're people with a passion for helping injured workers. Bring your case to us and stop the worrying. We've got this.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
The Game On Demand podcast menu.
Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
If you're dealing with injuries or pain, our team is here to get you better sooner. 107.5 The Game, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach, 100.5 The Game in Florence.
107.5 The Game is giving one local business a free 30-second commercial on our Westwood One broadcast of the Super Bowl. Go to 107.5thegame.com. Tell us why your business deserves an ad that will reach sports fans across the Midlands. One entry per business must be submitted by February 7th at 5 p.m. Official rules at 107.5thegame.com. WIS-TV First Alert Traffic
is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
And now time to take another look at your traffic around the Midlands for your ride in this morning. Still have a couple of disabled vehicles out there, so be mindful of that. That first one going to be at I-26 westbound and exit 111. So watch out as you're going through there. Then you have another one I-77 northbound right at Alexander's Bridge. So be on the lookout as you go through that area. Other than that, everything looking pretty clean and green as you drive around the Midlands this morning. Business will pick up as the hours go by. The quick peek of the weather, still pretty cold outside here in Columbia, 39 degrees, but the high today is going to get up to 68 for what's setting up to be a pretty decent weekend weather-wise. High 59 tomorrow and 55 on Sunday. Hopefully you can get outside and enjoy it. That's your weather and traffic here on the early game.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Eight 803-404-6100 if you've got a hot take similar to what Preston is about to share with us regarding washed up over the hill groundhogs. Do want to remind you overrated, sorry, I forgot that word. Do want to remind you coming up today right here on 107.5 The Game, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach, 100.5 The Game in Florence. We will have Shane Beamer's press conference 10:45 this morning to introduce new special teams and associate head coach Joe D. Camillus. Kind of look forward to that a little bit. Might have to get into that with you next week. D. Camillus never played football. He's one of those guys never played football, was a wrestler at Wyoming. Apparently got up to number 8 in the country as well.
It's my kind of guy.
There you go.
Does he still have the cauliflower ear? That's the first accuracy test on how much of a wrestler he actually was.
Based on the pictures I've seen, I do not believe he has it.
Okay.
So he wore his headgear like he was supposed to.
Like he was supposed to?
Yes.
And I heard Terry giving you a hard time the other day of the singlet.
Yes. What did he call it?
I don't know.
He called it something else. I'm like, no, man. It's a singlet.
It happens every morning on this program when I start talking about stuff I have no clue about and say the wrong stuff. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in this morning. Preston's got a scorching hot take on groundhogs. I feel like what happened was I brought this up. I mentioned that there's different groundhogs. There's a beaver in Portland that apparently is trying to fill in.
When's the last time you see me scrolling this furiously in my notes?
Preston came up with numbers. What do you got?
I'm gonna go through some teams. All right, I'm just go through some sports teams since this is a sports show. When I say the U, what do you think?
Miami.
Okay. Overrated, underrated, back, properly rated.
Today?
Mm-hmm.
They're wildly overrated.
There you go. Okay. When I say, maybe we can't say Texas, maybe we'll say USC football, the other USC football.
Wildly overrated.
Mm-hmm. These blue bloods who may have been good in yesteryear, Penn State football. Nobody cares about Penn State football anymore.
Nebraska. Go Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Yeah, there you go.
Miami, Nebraska, Penn State football.
Nebraska's never coming back.
Neither is Punxsutawney Phil. Punxsutawney Phil has an overall accuracy rating of 36% nationally. This was in 2021. 36% nationally. Now, those numbers can get skewed a little bit because in the Northeast, it tends to be colder for longer. But when you extrapolate his numbers out for the rest of the regions in the Southwest, the Southeast, Punxsutawney Phil, the fraud, only gets up to 50% nationally. Only 50%. You're saying, oh, what does that mean? That's still pretty good. It's not. It's not. There are 6 other rodent prognosticators that are above Punxsutawney Phil. Number 1, our guy, General Beauregard Lee. General Beauregard Lee has a 63% accuracy rating nationally, 70% when you extrapolate it for just the South. This guy is crushing Punxsutawney Phil, but yet we still are talking about Punxsutawney Phil. He's a fraud, Bill. He's a fraud. Not only that, Buckeye Chuck. This guy, Buckeye Chuck, is crushing. He's number 2. But you know who else is ahead of him? Let me go to my list.
Who exactly is Buckeye Chuck?
Buckeye Chuck is in Ohio, Bill.
Makes sense.
It's bad. I got. Thank goodness we got to
Buckeye
that
Chuck
one.
is in Ohio. But let's go to this list. We got Jimmy the Groundhog.
Oh, just Jimmy.
Jimmy the Groundhog. Lander Lil. Stormy the Marmot. Smomish Slew. Finally, after all of those guys, we come down to Punxsutawney Phil. But who gets all the credit? Who gets all the notoriety? Punxsutawney Phil. And it's only because he was there a long, long time ago. He was an originator. I'll give you credit. He was an originator. But the game of guessing and predicting weather has passed him by. He's a fraud. It's overrated. It's time for him to get out the game. Give the throne to General Beauregard Lee.
Do you think he's just resting on his laurels?
He's fat and happy. He sees all the people come around. He knows it's all about him. General Beauregard Lee's been working. And this guy's ready to take the throne of number one rodent accuracy weatherman in the nation.
Punxsutawney Phil goes into every season like top 5 in the preseason AP poll. Loses some games he has no business losing. He's running like a really old school traditional I formation offense. Everybody else is high flying with the West Coast spread. He's stuck in his ways, and then he ends up going like 7-5 or 8-4, going to just a regular bowl game while other rodents or prognosticators are going to national championships. Is what you're saying?
100%. This guy, the game has passed him by. He's only getting by because he was good at one time. But here's the thing, Bill. We don't even know if he was good. He was just the only one there. So we don't even know if he was actually really good.
This is like the Yale football of the 1900s.
He had a monopoly on it for a while.
As soon as some competition got introduced into the game, old Punxsutawney Phil back down to 36%, Bill. This guy shouldn't even be competing.
I don't know, man. There's a big party there. The Gobbler's knob.
It's like, Babe Ruth is recognized as one of the greatest baseball players of all time, but if you put him in today's era of baseball, he wouldn't even make it onto the field.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Anger all the people listening.
I'm just drawing some comparisons.
Get mad with that one.
All I'm saying is he's overrated. All of this celebration. These people.
Yeah, you got to get this live stream. We're watching.
It's not about.
How would you describe this?
There's a big
singer?
celebration on, but you know what about these people? It's not about the game anymore. It's about something else. They have ruined the celebrity prognosticator game for these rodents because these guys are working hard. Buckeye Chuck,
are they?
He's working. He's accurately predicting things. Beauregard Lee, 70%. And he can't get any love across the South. No love. Everybody talks about Punxsutawney Phil.
Needs an NIL deal.
We got to get him up, man.
Needs an NIL deal. At least a T-shirt company.
I'm saying it right now. If Punxsutawney Phil gets this wrong today, get him out of here.
I'm going to go with the odds are not good.
Put him in the garbage. 36%, of course it's not good. It's what he does nationally.
It's National Job Shadowing Day. We have 2 young men from the River Bluff school system from Meadow Glen. Gavin plays basketball for me. Gavin, what's your last name? Huh? Mm-hmm. Gavin is here. Gorino? Yeah, I'll let you talk on the mic.
You know the name of your own players, Bill?
I know the first name.
You know the first name?
Ask Gavin. Gavin doesn't even want me to know his last name. He doesn't want me to yell that much. Mm-hmm. And Crosby England is here as well. And they have just watched what we do each and every morning.
Mm-hmm. Listen, we have to put things in their correct historical perspective. This guy's overrated. He's had a monopoly on the game. These people, I feel bad for these people because they don't know they're actually celebrating a loser. Punxsutawney Phil is a loser, and they're all out there celebrating, and they're making a big deal out of this guy when we clearly know that General Beauregard Lee has a 70% accuracy rating.
Gamecock Banks on our live stream says, "Okay, Preston, compare the Groundhogs to the Swifties." Hold that thought. Just hold that. 803-404-6100. Well, that segment took a turn on us. I haven't seen you that fired up.
I didn't know I was going to get that fired up, but when I started digging into the numbers, I have to speak truth to power, Bill.
Preston.
Truth to power. Punxsutawney Phil, fraud.
In other words,
overrated.
Yep, Preston does not appreciate the frauds. So if you're going to predict the weather, please get it right. Right?
I mean, at least more than 36% of the time.
Amen. Amen to that. 803-404-6100. We'll try and follow up that scorching segment with another one after this.
I think I'm done for the day.
Yeah, you are. You've maxed out. 803-404-6100 is the early game.
Ever sit in this meeting?
What would you say you do here? I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. Can't you understand that?
Think to yourself, man, I'd rather be listening to the game.
You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
Well, just go to iTunes or Google Play and download our app on all of your devices, and you'll never be without the game again.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. Former Baltimore defense coordinator Mike Macdonald has been a rising star for the last few years and really did distinguish himself this season. He's young, aggressive, and the perfect successor to Pete Carroll as Seattle's head coach. In my book, this is an A-plus hire for Seahawks GM John Schneider, who has already assembled some talented young defensive studs. This is going to be interesting going forward. I'm Boomer Esiason.
CBS Sports Radio.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-5795. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-5795. That's 800-583-5795. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hi, yes, I'll have the club sandwich and house salad.
You got it, sweetie. I'll throw in a pair of designer sunglasses as well.
Just lunch, thanks.
How about a week at my boss's oceanfront villa?
What?
When you join the South Carolina Education Lottery's Players Club, you get way more than you expect. More chances, more wins, and more surprises.
Today's special, a trip to low Earth orbit in a private spaceship.
Join the Players Club at seeducationlottery.com because more happens here.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? Because no two people sleep the same. Only the Sleep Number smart bed lets you each choose your individual firmness and comfort, your Sleep Number setting. The Climate 360 smart bed is so smart, it actively cools or warms up to 13 degrees on either side for your ideal sleep temperature. JD Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. For JD Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste, so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
At Kroger, shopping with pickup and delivery is the same as shopping in-store. Same low prices, deals, and rewards on the same high-quality items. It's one small click for groceries, one big win for busy families everywhere. Start your cart today at Kroger.com. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Save with great deals on chicken. Right now, fresh Purdue boneless chicken breast is on sale for just $2.99.
Oh, yeah, that'll be on the podcast later.
Fresh for everyone.
With Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Eight 803-404-6100 is how you can handle any of Preston's hot takes this morning. Anonymous texter says, "Amen, Preston. Punxsutawney Phil is a fraud.
Let's get it started. Nationwide movement.
Ernest weighs in. Punxsutawney Phil, sort of like Ohio State in the Big Ten. Used to be on the tops, but can't get it done lately.
Can't get it. Not getting it done. There we go.
John weighs in. Grew up in the upstate. They had Leonard's losers, and he was always under 50% in predictions on football games. Don't bring Leonard's losers into that. Let's leave.
He's a legend.
Yeah, let's leave that out. At least leave him. Yeah, he's a legend. Anonymous texter says, Chip says, grew up thinking a groundhog was a beaver. Surprisingly, it's not even related to a beaver, but it's part of the squirrel marmot family.
That's where what was my guy name? Stormy the Marmot, I believe was their name. I don't know whether it was a male or female, so we'll be safe here. So Stormy the Marmot. There we go.
And then we've got this text. Do you think Lenora Sellers takes the starting job this year?
Can the groundhog predict that?
I don't know.
Better
We should have let
question.
one of the kids
We
answer
need to
that.
get
The kids had to
we need
walk
to
out of
get-
the studio
We
first.
need to
They
get
would-
General Beauregard on this.
yeah.
My last statement about this, and I'm done with it, is that when I was reading this article, it said that General Beauregard Lee was the Punxsutawney Phil of the South, and I think that we should change that to Punxsutawney Phil being the General Beauregard Lee of the North.
Seems fair.
That's all. That's the last thing I want to say.
Seems fair. 803-404-6100. Today, who do you depend on more for the weather? Your Magic 8 Ball or the Groundhog? Who are you going with, Tyler? The Magic 8 Ball or the Groundhog?
Well, I have a buddy that works at the Weather Channel, so I don't want to disrespect meteorologists here. So I'll go with my local meteorologist.
There you go.
Oh, that wasn't an option. Michael says Punxsutawney Phil is Jeff Fisher.
8-8, baby. He's not even Jeff Fisher. At least Jeff Fisher goes 8-8. Punxsutawney Phil for the nation. 8-8.
651 on a
Jeff Fisher.
Yeah, it's true. Jeff Fisher was 50%. 803-404-6100. You keep sending those in this morning. Again, last night, South Carolina with a 76-54 victory over Auburn. They'll be back in action Sunday against Mississippi. We don't have a ton of time with you this morning, so I'll move real quick. Basketball game this weekend, because we'll talk a little bit about this in the next segment, though. There's something about this game, Preston, that I think actually is a little scary.
You don't like it?
I don't know if it's a trap game, but I feel like we're not giving Georgia enough credit for being a good basketball team this year. And because a lot of people are kind of weighing in on this. Mike on our live stream says he just realized ESPN is giving Georgia a 58.9% win percentage on Saturday. Obviously, they beat South Carolina already. It feels like that thing where now people nationally are taking notice.
Yes.
People and this more so like the Kentucky game, maybe the national people thought, that's a nice little victory. Look at that. Fluky, you were at home. You followed up with Tennessee, and now everybody's going, that team actually is pretty good. How do they handle that on Saturday?
Yeah,
I think
that's the thing, because they haven't really played from this perspective and being, I wouldn't say an overwhelming favorite, but a team that's expected to win the games. If anything, they've been 50-50s or maybe even slight underdogs. And so it's a little bit of a different mindset to go into somebody's gym, go and win a game, and being able to do that. So yeah, it's a new chapter. However, if they want to be the team that they think they are, they will have to win this game.
Tomorrow 1:00 is the game, and they've got to go out, they've got to perform, and they've got to. This is not that must-win game scenario again, but they've got to go out and show what they're capable of doing and building on. Because if they win, they will be ranked, and they'll be ranked inside the top 20.
This is one of those things where it's like, all right, we're paying attention, we're watching, and I'm not saying us, but I'm saying nationally. Okay, you wanted people to pay attention. Here we are. You're gonna have to show them something here.
Speaking of showing them something, again, it is national. I think it's like National Job Shadow Day, or is it National Jobs? Not only is it National Groundhog Day, it's National Job Shadow Day. We've got Gavin and Crosby here. And Preston, let's bring them around to this mic right here, because you've got to leave. And let's get them for just a second here. Come on, guys, come over to this mic here, and we'll turn that on. Introduce yourself real quick. Tell everybody who you are, what school you go to, and what grade you're in.
I'm Crosby England. I go to Meadowglen Middle School, and I'm in 7th grade.
All right, Gavin, your turn. Good job.
I'm Gavin Guarino. I go to Meadow Glen Middle School, and I'm in 7th grade.
All right, Gavin, let's start with you on this. You came down here to learn all about sports talk radio. It's important. Maybe it's something you want to do in the future. Who knows? I would advise against it. But you walk in here, and the first thing you have to hear is a hot take on the Groundhog. Give me on a scale of 1 to 5, 1, 2, 4, 5, 5 being the highest. Give me your take on Preston's hot take on the Groundhog.
Give it like 4.
4, strong, good numbers there. Crosby, what do you give Preston on his hot take on the Groundhog?
3.
You can't go 3.
No
1, 2.
threes.
You're either against it or on it. 1, 2, 4, 5. 4. Oh, you've done your job. You really are great with the kids.
I showed them what real sports talk radio is about. You take nothing and turn it into something. I'm showing them the real skill of being a radio prognosticator. Hey, kids, here's nothing. Let's make it into something. This is skill. This is the real skill. This is a life skill.
They're hanging out with us all morning. We're going to put them in there with Tyler and let them learn the actual hard work of doing a show.
Go back there where the work is being done for
we'll
real.
Do that. Hour 2 is on the way. Bill Gunner for Jacob Crowder, the mortgage guru. We're First Palmetto Bank. 2024, well, it's officially upon us. We're into February, and now you're probably really starting to take stock of what you're doing, what you're thinking about, such as, should we upgrade our house? Should we get more room? The kids are getting bigger, older. The dogs and cats are running around. We need more room. Or you're thinking the kids are heading off and you want to downsize a little bit. Well, the first thing you need to do is call the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank, and see what kind of interest rate, what kind of loan is available to you. If you're thinking about building, First Palmetto Bank has a no-nonsense construction loan that is perfect for your needs. Call today to learn more about it. 803-719-1005. Again, that's 803-719-1005. Or you can email him, the letter J, Crowder at firstpalmetto.com. He's the mortgage guru for a reason. Give him a call today, 803-719-1005.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Renewal by Anderson's here. Kickstart the new year with this incredible deal. Buy one window or door and get the second for 40% off. Act now to schedule your free, no-obligation in-home consultation with my team at freewindowassessment.com. That's freewindowassessment.com.
The Ronald McDonald House Charities Columbia SC invites you to be a part of their annual gala fundraiser themed A Midsummer Night's Dream. The fundraiser will be Friday, March 1st at 1208 Washington Place. Gala sponsorships and tickets can be purchased at their website, rmhcofcolumbia.org. The Ronald McDonald House Charities of Columbia serves families of critically ill or injured children with the Ronald McDonald House and the Ronald McDonald Family Room. To be a sponsor or purchase tickets for the gala fundraiser, visit rmhcofcolumbia.org.
Hey, this is Ray.
And Mary Ann with Absolute Glass.
And we're happy to have been voted Lexington's best glass store for 13 years in a row.
Many drivers are unaware that your cracked windshields can be replaced, usually at absolutely no cost to you.
If all the high-end car dealerships in town can trust us to do their glass needs, so can you.
We service the Midlands both at our shop in Lexington, but we are also happy to come to you at home or work.
Find us online at absoluteglassinc.com. And remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
Love, pamper, repeat this Valentine's Day at your local Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa. Get a free massage or facial gift card with the spa package. Click the Purchase Gift Card button for an exclusive online-only gift card offer today. Visit their locations in the Columbia area or visit handandstone.com for online deals and to find the spa nearest you. Restrictions apply. See spa for more details. WIS-TV First Alert Traffic
is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
And time taking a look at your traffic around the Midlands for your ride in this morning. Business starting to pick up a little bit. Do have an accident to report now at I-26 westbound at exit number 110. Still working some disabled vehicles. One at I-26 westbound at exit number 111. And then you have another vehicle that is disabled at I-77 northbound right at the Alex Sanders Bridge. Be careful as you're driving through that area. And of course, you have your usual construction going on in the area of Malfunction Junction. So be careful through there as well. Quick peek at the weather. Still pretty cold out here in Columbia, 39 degrees. High today is actually going to be 68 degrees, though. So it should be pretty nice before a pretty nice weekend ahead. High tomorrow of 59, then high Sunday of 55. That's your traffic and weather here on the early game.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
Hey, this is Carolina men's head golf coach Bill McDonald. You're listening to WNKT FM 107.5, the home of the Gamecocks.
A Cumulus media station.
The early game.
With Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
Kansas and Illinois. Sounds like a great basketball game, Preston Thorne, but it's Illinois.
A lot of corn. A lot of corn.
A lot of corn. Is Illinois known as the Corn State?
Oh, there's a ton of corn. Yeah.
Really?
And Jen Jensen.
There was a school south of us that we played, and they were called, the town was Hoopston, and they were the Hoopston Corn Jerkers. Can't make it up.
Ooh.
That's unfortunate.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
The theme of this show. I don't know what happened.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
$7 a.m., getting you up, get you going on a Friday morning, February the 2nd. Yes, it is Groundhog Day, and we are watching the live stream now. Preston and I are doing that as they get ready for, as Preston would like to say, the fraud. The overrated Punxsutawney Phil. What was his percentages again?
36% nationally. If you extrapolate his numbers out and include only the Southwest and the Southeast, he's still only at 50%.
Not good numbers for Punxsutawney Phil. Oh, good. There's Miss Punxsutawney Phil, the annual award winner for a lot going on there.
Yeah, it's an event.
Does that become a bucket list item?
For somebody. Me, no. But yeah, I mean, that might be. Seems like a cool enough gathering.
Yeah.
Listen, and I've said it before, I'm all about people gathering for weird things and little niche groups, and you want to get into I'm cool with it. I have no problem with it. It's just not for me. But I celebrate anybody that wants to do anything and gather with a bunch of people and have some fun. I'm with it.
I do kind of agree with you that you're like, oh, this would be a good idea. Then you get up there and you realize, wait a minute. Like I've put myself into something here and it's
I've also eliminated myself. I cannot go near that because of my hot take. They might. I'm probably on a watch list somewhere.
Yeah.
Punxsutawney Phil haters.
Might have to, before you get out of here, you might have to tell us where exactly General Beauregard is located in Georgia so that anybody who wants to go participate
with a winner.
Yeah, go celebrate with a winner as well. 803-404-6100. How you can join us if you want to do so. Talked a little bit about the women's basketball last night. Again, 76-54 victory over Auburn on the Plains. They're back home Sunday, 2 o'clock against Mississippi. You'll be able to hear that right here on 107.5 The Game, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. Also a reminder today, coming up 10:45, you can hear it right here on 107.5 The Game, 100.5 The Game in Florence, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. Shane Beamer will introduce Joe D. Camillus, the new special teams associate head coach. And Preston, we've talked briefly about this. The one thing I don't think that you can do with this is just go, oh, this is all about the special teams. There is so much more with Joe D. Camillus that he's going to have a hand in. Most of it's going to be in-game stuff or being kind of that older. I don't know what you're expecting today. 58-year-old Joe D. Camillus, if he's going to get up there, you can hear the gruff, there we go, tackle and hit, bite some kneecaps off and all that kind of good stuff. Football. Like, I think that's what they need, though, is like the gruff, kind of angry coach, never in a good mood.
Yeah, they need somebody who's unimpressed by any of this. He's like, this is not. We had this back in '86.
When you make a video and it's put up on Twitter and Instagram and all that, he's like, kids these days.
That's what I need. I need a coach that says kids these days. Oh, yes. I'm assuming, and I'm actually really interested to hear what he has to say, to hear from him. hear what they think his role is going to be. Obviously, that'll evolve through the time. But I made the point last or whenever this hire was made, I assume that this role is going to be somebody who can help Shane throughout game situations on the field, because that's a lot of what Pete Limbo did. I always bring up the scenario. There was one time where they made a play and Shane was going crazy and jumping up and down and chest bumping and high fiving like he does, which we want him to do because that's him. But Pete was behind him like, hey, Shane, we got to go for 2 here. And Shane was like, oh yeah, let me get back. And so he's going to need somebody in his ear to bring him back down to earth, or even to help him think a couple of steps ahead during the game. Hey, what are you thinking here? If we don't get this 3rd down, is this a 4-down situation? If we're going for it on 4th down, what do the analytics say? Just somebody in your ear helping you go through the thought process.
It's interesting as we head to year 4 to look at this staff, and they're not an old staff either, Preston. I mean, you go down the list of the coaches on this staff. It's not a bunch of grizzled veterans that have been around. Joe DeCamillis will fill that spot. Pete Limbo filled that spot. And I that's why we talk about this. You're right when it comes to looking at this group of coaches that has to game plan and everything. That's where I see Joe DeCamillis as being, as you said, kind of the voice of reason in the room. Like, no, we can't. I've been around for 32 years in the NFL. That doesn't work. We can't do that.
You need that guy. When I was on the staff at Blythewood High School, we had a coach, shout out to Coach Rob. And he had coached for a long time. And we'd be sitting there coming up with all these game plans. We'd be like, yeah, we already tried that back in 88. It didn't work then. It's not going to work now. And we're like, oh, yeah. Or he could be like, no, let me tell you about why this is going to work. Or I've seen this type of kid before. This is how you coach him. Because those younger guys don't necessarily have all of that experience. And you need somebody who's been around the block a few times, seen things, knows the game of football, knows people, and can understand how to relate to those different folks.
And I'll use an example that was told to me when Shane was hired, and we were talking about Shane and how similar in his energy and some of his mannerisms and things he does was to Dabo, right? We all made fun of Dabo. And what was told to me about Shane about Dabo was he had a guy as offensive line coach in Robbie Caldwell who was that, we're not going to do that. And of course, I think he said it in a totally different manner because we all, was it the chicken story, I believe, from his time at Vanderbilt. But he also had in the background Brad Scott.
Yes.
Another old grizzled veteran who had been around, and you go back and look at those early stats, and that allowed Dabo to be that energetic face of the program while allowing.
That's really interesting you say that, because even on an interpersonal level, he had Willie McCorvey back there behind him also. So he had a lot of these old sage veteran guys who know ball and understand the ins and outs of how that works. Allow the young guy to use his energy and enthusiasm, but then pull him back in the closed room and say, hey, this is how we, you might want to think about this. You ever thought about this? Okay, maybe you want to pull this way.
And I mean, you go down the staff, Derek Moore is, I give credit. I think Derek's still a relatively young guy, speaking wise. Luke Day's a young guy. So to me, you see this hire and you go, oh, okay, special teams. It's much, much, much more about, I think, big picture than just special teams.
Yeah, I mean, just think about any workplace should have these people. You should have a diversity of age. You have the young people coming with all the energy. The old folks are coming in with their wisdom, helping you do things the right way, maybe from their mistakes that they've made, or things that they've seen, or just helping you mold the younger, more passionate, energetic. That's great, but we also need people around that can help you avoid some of the pitfalls that they may have seen already.
Yeah, you don't need those guys to be coming in and offering advice on NIL or things like that.
Yeah, it's not
those are what we call ball coaches. They're there. They want to coach ball 24 hours a day. Which, going back, did you see the news yesterday? We talked about Jeff Hafley leaving Boston College. That's a ball coach. Dude wants to coach ball. He doesn't want to deal with the transfer portal or with NIL or anything. Hey, give me a pen. Give me a whiteboard.
He wants a whiteboard.
Let me just draw it up. Let me get into the finer nuances. He's a Will Muschamp, if you will. The finer nuances of what was it? The short side run game.
Nub side.
Nub side, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, news coming out. Obviously, you get Dan Quinn being hired yesterday by the Commanders. But did you see who seems to be reaching out a little bit to become their offensive coordinator?
No.
Rumors, sources saying yesterday, telling a couple of the big name reporters, Chip Kelly interested in going to the Commanders as offensive coordinator. Chip Kelly is another guy. The times I've heard him talk, the kind of the man, he's a ball coach. He doesn't want to deal with NIL. He doesn't want to deal with this, and that's now such a big part of it in college football, where it's not just managing your team; it's managing a whole organization.
Yeah, I'm sure Chip's obviously he's made a lot of money. He's happy with the place of his career. But if you put Chip Kelly in a spot where he can just go back to the Division III school that he came from in New Hampshire and coach football, he'd probably be just as happy, honestly. And that's where a lot of guys especially when you give up the head coaching deal, I can just get into a room and draw up plays and do schemes. A lot of guys feel a little bit happier about that.
Yeah, and I think, obviously there's the lawsuits out there now from colleges against the NCAA, and I don't know where those are going to go. And I'm not smart enough to sit here and have that kind of conversation. And I, quite frankly, am not sure that most of the attorneys we could talk to understand the legalese, if you will, of what is being challenged and how the courts can uphold that. I feel like right now it's just we don't know where this is going.
Yeah, it's a long way away. Obviously, that we don't have the time, maybe even or the depth to have those discussions. I will say, on Twitter, there's a guy named Midwinter. Tyler had him on his show yesterday. I've been following him for a good while. He does a great job. He's a sports guy who understands NIL, understands the concept, and he's been very instrumental for me helping my understanding, because once we get into the law, I kind of want to stick my head in the sand a little bit.
I'm with you on that. But yeah, again, the whole college thing, and again, it circles back. Joe D. Camillus doesn't need to come in and start trying to tell people, oh, yeah, here's what we should do with NIL. Now we got to get these collectives together. He needs to come in and be that guy behind the scenes that isn't afraid to speak up and say, no, guys, let's rethink what we are trying to accomplish here, not just on special teams, but across the board. And now I know some people might say, well, wait a minute, he's had 32 years in the NFL, 1 year in college. Ball is ball across the board in terms of what you're trying to accomplish. Stop the other team, score when you have the ball, and there's things he'll understand right off the bat.
Yeah, there'll be some scheme things they'll have to adjust to, but he understands personnel. He understands people. He's been in various locker rooms, and he can understand those things and give it a different perspective. Like I said, I've been before they even made this hire, and I didn't know it was going to be him. I'm not very familiar with him, but we've said that they needed somebody that was an older, more seasoned guy on the staff.
Speaking of an older guy, a more seasoned guy, a quirky guy, if you would. Now, but real quick, did you ever watch Ted Lasso?
I did not.
Okay, all right. So you're a little behind, but Ted Lasso, he's a dancing guy. He's a happy guy. I don't know if that would equate to Jim Harbaugh, but Jim Harbaugh yesterday with the Los Angeles Chargers, well, he's got some lessons he's learned from Ted Lasso, and he shared them yesterday.
There's some things I've copied from Ted Lasso. I try to emulate Ted Lasso in a lot of ways. That's TV show. Yeah, that's one of the best. Jason Sudeikis, tremendous. I got a great story of how I met Jason Sudeikis. But I think that there's a life lesson in every one of those episodes.
This is a man who's never seen Ted Lasso clearly, and it's just like, yeah, he's a hit, and I think it's. Let me kind of tell you how I've learned from Ted Lasso without telling you that I've learned anything.
What a treat! We're glad Jim Harbaugh is back. I'm glad he's back in the league, man.
Why do you think he's more open to saying stuff now?
Yeah, I do. I do think he's gonna, because in college you have to follow a lot of. Obviously, he didn't follow them, but there's rules and governing bodies. He's in the league, man. He can say whatever now.
I was gonna say, do you think he drove from Ann Arbor to Los Angeles and on the way just pit stopped off in Indianapolis by the NCAA headquarters, maybe went around and just used the bathroom a little bit on the I'm out. I'm not coming back, guys. You can't get me now.
It's very possible. And this is a radio show, so you can't do it. But I don't say it's a bit, but he was talking about when he first met Justin Herbert. He was just looking up in the sky like, whoa, look at this guy. All that to say, welcome back, Jim. We're glad you're back in the league, man.
Welcome back. 803-404-6100. You're off.
I'm out of here, man.
Out. We will move on this morning. No Chris Deering. He is under the weather. Apparently, everybody's under the weather. Trying to stay safe. We will all be back together.
Just remember, Paul Satoni Phil, fraud.
Whatever he
Overrated.
says today, go the other way.
Overrated.
Is what you're
50%
saying.
shooting rate.
Actually,
General Beauregard Lee, 70%. I'm out.
Or be looking more for General Beauregard Lee. Preston's out. We'll come back. We'll roll along. Bill Gunner, Tyler Head, Preston Thorne's gone. You're listening to the early game.
107.5 The Game on demand podcast menu.
Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
If you're dealing with injuries or pain, our team is here to get you better sooner.
On the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
All right, we have clearly established this morning, Punxsutawney Phil, overrated. Totally understand. Preston had the numbers to back it up. You know what's underrated? Being able to sit back in your home, relax, and breathe fresh, clean air. Yeah, that's actually underrated. You probably don't think about it. You're just like, I'm breathing air. I'm living. I'm having a good time. But you may not know the amount of dust and bacteria that is sitting in your duct system and circulating in your home. But guess what? Zero Res is the company I trust to get my home insanely clean. And right now, you can take advantage of that. Mention me, Bill Gunner, on 107.5 The Game, and you'll get $50 off your next air duct cleaning. That's right, $50 off your next air duct cleaning when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. You can also go online and schedule your appointment at zerorescolumbia.com. Use the promo code AIR, AIR50. Again, that's AIR50 when scheduling online, or you can give them a phone call, 803-262-4020. Zero-Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Discover Herndon Certified. Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Hi, everybody. This is Woody Wyndham here to talk about Pioneer Tree Service. Pioneer Tree Service has more than 4 decades of helping homeowners maintain and manage trees on their property. Their skilled crew offers customized solutions that match your needs and budget. Tree trimming and tree removal can be dangerous. You need to trust the people that are doing the job. Before attempting to remove limbs, call Pioneer Tree Service for a free quote. They remove limbs safely and make sure that future growth is directed away from potential trouble areas such as roof lines and driveways. Cutting down trees takes more than a chainsaw. Even branches can weigh thousands of pounds, and their removal must be handled with care. Pioneer Tree Service offers a full complement of state-of-the-art heavy equipment, from track hose to bucket trucks to safely remove trees and stumps from your property. And no matter where you live, the Gantt girls can get there. And I want you to call them at 803-794-8253.
No one likes to talk about the injuries, pain, disability, and lost loved ones that result from terrible car and tractor-trailer accidents. I'm Jason Reynolds. At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we're honored to be the lawyers our clients rely on during their toughest moments.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When a work injury disrupts your life, I work hard to get you the medical treatment and workers' compensation you depend on.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
The 6th Annual Driving Down Maine Virtual Golf Tournament, hosted by the United Way of the Midlands, February 5th and 6th at the Players Club on 1626 Main Street. Proceeds benefit 17 Midlands elementary schools. Register your team at uwa.org/DDM. Save 20% with promo code DDM6 $. All lowercase and one word. It's the United Way of the Midlands Driving Down Maine Virtual Golf Tournament, February 5th and 6th at the Players Club. Register today at ua.org/DDM.
Hey, this is Ray and Nathan with Pope Davis Tire and Automotive.
It's hard to make it to the gym these days.
Too crowded?
Nah, I just don't want to go.
At Pope Davis, we have a new fitness package for the new year.
We've got 17-inch tires for $75 each and oil changes for $40.
And all come with a free boot camp CrossFit workout.
Move as many stacks of tires as you want at no additional charge.
So skip the crowded gym and get fit at Pope Davis.
Find the right tire at the right price at PopeDavisTire.com.
Hey, this is Jen Jensen for CHW Cabinetry. My family is using CHW Cabinetry, and they are fantastic to work with. They make sure you're satisfied with every step of the process. Not only do their photorealistic renderings show exactly what your new space will look like, their job site guarantees everyone is on the same page, literally. Experience the CHW difference for yourself. Go to chwcabinetry.com to see more, or call them at 803-520-6837, and be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic
Is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
Now it's time to take a look at your traffic and weather around the Midlands for your ride in this morning. Looks like we have an object in the roadway, I-20 eastbound, right there at Broad River Road. So be careful as you're driving through that area. It looks like they have gotten those disabled vehicles out of the roadway on I-77 and I-26, respectively. Other than that, it looks like everything is pretty good on most of the roadways. Of course, you got your regular construction going on in the area of Malfunction Junction. Quick peek of the weather. Currently 39 degrees in Columbia. High today is going to be 68. Actually going to be a pretty nice day. Hopefully you can get outside and enjoy it. Tomorrow, high of 59, low of 34. Then Sunday to wrap up your weekend, high of 55 and low of 40. Let's look at your traffic and weather on the early game here on the 107.5 The Game.
'The Early Game.
With Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
$7:20 a.m. as we roll along here on your Friday morning. Bill Gunner now, Tyler Head, Preston Thorne off to take he's got the college kids now that he's taking to learn about some teaching and all the fun aspects when you become a public educator. And good luck to him this morning. He'll be back on Monday. We'll see if Jen is back. She's out again this morning under the weather. I did watch. Tyler, I know you're a NASCAR guy.
Yep.
And last night, I there wasn't a lot on. We've hit kind of an odd wall right now with this little break and with the basketball game, with the women's game on the SEC Network Plus last night, having to stream it. Josh Harris had joined us last week, and he had mentioned the Full Speed, I believe. It's
the documentary. Yep.
Watched the first episode last night.
What'd you think?
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
I love the behind it. And I feel like NASCAR, the majority of NASCAR drivers are more, they're more open about themselves and their personality. It's because it's the sport itself is big and loud and it's built on personality. And so they open with Jen's favorite driver, Denny Hamlin.
Well, the guy that you pick every single week.
And after watching that, I'm more bored. He gets in there. I won't spoil it completely. And this was public, so I think it's okay to bring it up without you having to watch it. But they open up at Daytona in the final race of the year to get into the playoffs. And the backstory is they're interviewing Denny and they interview William Byron. That's the first two guys they really get into, but they really showcase Denny's the 2311 that he owns.
Right.
And I didn't quite grasp what Denny Hamlin is doing in this documentary, where he's an owner, but he's not a driver for 2311. He's a driver for Joe Gibbs.
Right.
And they have the interview in there where Bubba Wallace is trying to get into the playoffs and Ty Gibbs needs to get into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And basically he does the interview and he says, if it comes down to the very end, I'm helping Bubba Wallace. I'm not helping my teammate.
Yeah. Financially invested in that. It is a weird situation, and NASCAR has had a rule for many years that did not allow a driver to own a majority stake in a team they did not drive for. Technically, Michael Jordan owns the majority stake of 2311 Racing, but I mean, Denny Hamlin basically runs the show over there. But really, he's the first driver since Dale Earnhardt 20 some odd years ago to own a team but not drive for that team in the Cup Series. So it's a unique thing. But yeah, he's got a lot on his plate.
It's out this weekend. Again, there's a good day of basketball tomorrow. We'll get into that a little bit. The schedule coming up, but I only watched episode 1, but it's worth it. I'll advise you, if you're looking for something on Netflix, it was definitely worth it.
And I thought they did a really good job encapsulating what something like that should. 2 years ago, the USA Network and NBC did something similar called Race for the Championship. I felt like it was a little bit forced and didn't really, for one, it wasn't as widely available because it was on USA Network at 10 o'clock on like a Wednesday night. This is on Netflix, which everybody has. Everybody, has access to it, and it pops up right there on your homepage. But I thought it did a really good job kind of encapsulating the drama of the sport, the personalities of the drivers, and why it matters, which, again, people can look at something like that and say, oh, it's going around in circles. What's the big deal? But it really kind of tells you what they're doing, the skill set, all that kind of stuff. And I really think it's a good introduction for people that have never watched before, kind of similar to, I don't know if you ever watched Drive to Survive on Netflix, the Formula One documentary.
I love documentaries.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a documentary. I would rather watch a documentary than a movie every day. And that's kind of last night I was scrolling through. I love World War II. I'm a huge World War II history buff on that. And I love getting into those documentaries. And so last night, again, there wasn't a great basketball game to get into. We didn't pressure Preston on the Pro Bowl stuff.
I actually did check out the Pro Bowl for a little bit. I can give you some thoughts later.
We'll let you get into that a little bit. But I didn't pressure him on that because he said, I didn't get into it. So I was looking. I finally settled on that. So let me see. This is relates. We're obviously 2 weeks away. I mean, this weekend you got the Clash at the Coliseum.
Mm-hmm.
We're 2 weeks away from our Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge and getting into all that and just watching it and just really neat to kind of see the behind the scenes stuff. And I'll be interested to see if they can continue, because you tell me if I'm wrong. I feel like they have as many personalities
They do.
as they've had in about 20 years. Like,
For sure.
Jeff Gordon wasn't necessarily a personality per se.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of the knock that people say when, the Classic, it's not how it used to be, because drivers were a lot more open, and now you have to be more reserved from a PR aspect. You don't want to anger sponsors or put yourself in a situation where you're not as marketable, but something like this does give you a glimpse behind the scenes. There was a show about 20 years ago in the mid-2000s called NASCAR Drivers 360. It aired on FX. It was a really good show, and it gave you a really good behind-the-scenes glimpse of drivers for about 3 years, and then it went away, and kind of, fans have longed for something like that to come back. And I think what I saw, and I haven't finished it yet, I watched the first episode the other day myself, but I think it's given the best glimpse behind the scenes since a show like that, which, again, is good for the sport and good in introducing people to it. And I've seen a lot of reactions on Twitter and Reddit and stuff like that. People saying, hey, I didn't know anything about it, but I'm watching it. I'm really interested. So, again, good momentum to build with the season starting here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just kind of you keep just enough eye on NASCAR, but maybe don't get into it. I encourage you to watch that thing or start watching something. They're relatively, even, for me personally, it's great because it's about 45 minutes an episode, which is just about my run time.
And it does a good job of explaining everything, because the playoff format can be a little bit complicated, but they do it without treating the audience like they're dumb. You know what I mean? Which is a hard balance. But I think, and I love Marty Smith, and they got him on there, explaining things and kind of detailing, again, what these guys are doing within these race cars. And he, I think, does that better than anyone. So that's a good piece to add to the documentary as well.
Yeah. Again, if you're looking for something coming up next, we'll get back into some South Carolina and Georgia this weekend. We got some Lamont Parrish from last night. We'll let you hear a little bit from him, and we'll give you the rundown for the schedule this coming weekend. Again, another great weekend of college basketball coming up. Some really, really big games. I'll just say this, and I'm sure you saw this because you stay on social media. We are not going to address any of the rumors that may be occurring with the basketball team in Fayetteville.
Just stay away from that.
We're going to leave that alone. We'll let the professionals handle that. We're going to ignore that. But it should be a really good weekend. If you don't know what we're talking about, just Google it later. Just rumors right now. 803-404-6100. You're listening to Tyler Head. I'm Bill Gunner. You're listening to The Early Game.
Yes, that phone in your pocket or purse will keep you in touch with your family and friends. It will take great selfies of you on amazing adventures or just this morning's breakfast. And it's pretty good in case of an emergency. But the single most important phone
on the baseline, shoots it up over Vanover. Got it!
I take a lot of pride in being from South Carolina. It's part of why I chose the school. I just want them to know, man, I got love for this school. I think the school loves me as well. And just a guy that gave it his all while he was here and just made continuous improvement, and just a winner, man. A guy that really wanted to win and left it all on the court every time.
Everyone says they care about the team and they care about winning, but, I think this group especially is all about winning.
When I'm in the huddle with my teammates, when we're on the road,
when we going up against somebody, I just always tell them be us. Be who we are. Don't try to be nobody else. Like, you can look at it and be like, well, doing something right now. You know what I'm saying? We just want to stay on that path. You know, stay on that path to greatness and stay on that path to march.
$779-4000.
Hey guys, Jay Phillips here with Ben Cato, third generation owner of the Midland's best outdoor power equipment dealership, Cato's Power Equipment.
Jay, we are incredibly proud to serve the great lawn cutters of the Midlands, but we're also happy to serve customers all over the Palmetto State. We have loyal customers from Greenville to Beaufort, Savannah to Darlington, all happy to travel for the mom and pop service Cato's Power Equipment offers.
Ben, tell me more about what sets Cato's apart from the rest.
Absolutely. First off, we only deal in the best brands, and that's not just our opinion. Toro, Gravely, Aaron's, and Steel all top the consumer ratings charts. Second, we love to help. Grass cutting, especially in our famously hot city, isn't always a fun task.
I couldn't have been happier with Matt and Jeremy. They set me up with the perfect Toro mower for my yard.
And I sleep great knowing that we'll keep that machine in tip-top shape for many years to come.
So wherever you are, whatever your grass cutting needs might be, consider Cato's Power Equipment, family owned and operated since 1983.
Come see us at 4012 West Beltline Boulevard or always online at catospowerequipment.com.
It's the Players Club countdown to Gamecock baseball. 14 days till opening day. Step into the future of golf at the Players Club, Columbia's first and only exclusive indoor golf and country club. Visit playersclubsc.com to learn more. The Players Club, where golf meets elegance.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? I'm Dr. Mark Bentley with Columbia Secret for Weight Loss, and I know the secret. Our unique weight loss program makes it easy to lose weight, get healthy, and get your energy back naturally, safely, and effectively. If you'd like to lose unhealthy fat without counting points or calories, no exercising, no prepackaged or boxed meals, no surgery, and no hypnosis, call my office now at 803-999-3020.
Toby, a patient at the Columbia Secret for Weight Loss.
My goal is to lose about 80 pounds, and then currently after 60 days, I'd got to 56 pounds, so feeling really good about where things are. Anybody, any age, any weight can do this program and be successful.
Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month. That's a half a pound to a pound per day. For your free private weight loss consultation, call 803-999-3020. That's 803-999-3020. Or ColumbiaSecretForWeightLoss.com.
Hey, it's Rich Eisen here. Join me and my compadre, Chris Brockman, every Monday on the Overreaction Monday podcast as we dive into the latest headlines across the NFL playoffs. Are you ready, Chris Brockman?
Just as handsome as ever, buddy.
I appreciate you saying that, and I wish I could say the same to you. There is a ton to overreact to, as now every other team that didn't make the playoffs, they're already looking forward to next year. Come react or overreact with us leading up to the big game. Overreaction Monday, wherever you listen.
107.5 The Game is giving one local business a free 30-second commercial on our Westwood One broadcast at the Super Bowl. Go to 1075thegame.com. Tell us why your business deserves an ad that will reach sports fans across the Midlands. One entry per business must be submitted by February 7th at 5 p.m. Official rules at 1075thegame.com. WIS-TV First Alert Traffic
is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
All right, time to take a look at your traffic around the Midlands. We ride in this morning. Things getting a little bit busy out there on the roadway. Saw the object in the roadway at I-20 eastbound right there at Broad River Road. Have a couple accidents to report. One's going to be at 277 southbound right there at I-20. Another one as well at I-77 southbound and I-20 right there at exit number 16. Do have those disabled vehicles that got cleared from the roadway from a little bit earlier. Let's hit one more accident up on the north side. Got one at Rimmer Pond Road and Wilson Boulevard. And for a quick peek of your weather, 39 degrees currently in Columbia. High today is going to get up to 68. Going to be pretty nice. Hopefully you can get outside. Got 59 of a high for tomorrow and 55 for Sunday to wrap up your weekend. That's your traffic and weather here on the early game.
worth talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
For the guys, it's fun for them, and just trying to change the narrative. We've talked about that before, and improve our name branding, certainly locally, regionally, but also globally. And so it's been fun. It's good. Guys have played well in some big games, and people have taken note of it. So it's a lot of fun.
That's Lamont Paris last night talking about this program now at South Carolina that is gaining national attention. And Tyler, in my lifetime, I've seen this happen essentially about three times. 96, 97, 97, 98 were magical years here. Mind you, I was not born. I was born in 82. I was not born in the 70s and what everybody will tell you is the golden era of South Carolina basketball when Frank McGuire just had the town on fire. They were beating up on ACC teams. They were fighting North Carolina and Duke, on the court and just people around here. It was crazy. I've had older family members tell me, you couldn't drive down a block without seeing a basketball goal in somebody's yard.
Right.
It was just entirely different back in the 70s. And then Tyler, I remember when I was in first grade, I saw South Carolina go to I remember South Carolina going to the NCAA tournament. I remember sitting in class. They played North Carolina State in the opening day, Chris Corciani and the other guard. It was in the late 80s. And then it was about 10 more years until I saw South Carolina in the NCAA tournament. And that run in 96, 97 was phenomenal. We were talking about it earlier this week. They beat Kentucky at Rock. They swept Kentucky. They were incredible, 15-1. They were a top 10 team. South Carolina was unbelievable. And then the next year followed it up with another great run. Got to the championship game of the SEC tournament where they got smashed by 30 by Kentucky. And then the next year it all went away. They went 8-23, I think, 8-21. Aaron Lucas kind of mentioned it yesterday. Just got smashed. And they went back into the dark period of South Carolina basketball. There was an NCAA tournament appearance, Tyler, and I think 03, I think. But they played like the noon game on Thursday, like the very first game on Thursday of the NCAA tournament.
Right.
And got beat by Memphis, where you don't even feel like you were in the tournament.
It's a blink and you miss it kind of thing.
Yeah, like it's the very first game. You don't even get to watch a couple and build up excitement. You're the first game. You're the first team that loses.
And that kind of sours the rest of the tournament for you. It's like, well, my team's gone.
Yeah, I was and then we would go essentially 14 more years. I mean, look, in my lifetime, I have seen 5 NCAA tournament appearances. And what you hear Lamont trying to explain, and I've talked to coaches when I did recruiting and when I did all that, I would talk to coaches that didn't coach here, but would just say, man, Columbia, it's got basketball talent. It's got all the, what seems to be the problem? Why is it? I've never had the answer to that.
Sure.
But you hear Lamont in that clip talking about trying to change the perception. I liked how he said globally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if people in England and Spain are going, South Carolina Gamecock basketball. Interesting.
Right. Yeah. Maybe not to that degree yet. Maybe one day, hopefully. But yeah, this is a state that's so rich in basketball talent. And it's kind of one of those things that you kind of look at and say, oh, most of the talent ends up going elsewhere and goes to make their names at, the Blue Bloods, Dukes, or, Kentucky's or whatever it may be, where, you're not going to be able to change that overnight. But I do think that, we're only a year and a half into the Lamont Paris era, and what he's got people talking about the team right now, you're not getting ignored anymore. You're getting talked about on all the big shows and across all the big podcasts and all that kind of stuff. Like he's really turning some heads. And again, are you suddenly going to become Kentucky or Duke where you're making, deep runs in the tournament every single year? I don't know. You would hope that would be the case, certainly, but on the right track as of right now. And, once you get in the tournament, anything can happen. So, I know the people are saying, hey, well, we're going to maybe make another run like 2017, which would be great. But still got a lot of basketball to play between now and then, and hopefully you keep the momentum that you have going right now, wrap up the regular season in a strong way, and ride some momentum in the postseason.
Yeah, and that's why we're past. Hopefully, we don't have to go back down the road of me coming in here and telling everybody it's the biggest game of Lamont Paris's South Carolina tenure,
right?
Because of what it means. I feel like we're past that. It is a big game, though. I think because of what you just said. If they lose, it's a road game. Georgia's a good team. You don't want to lose, but if they lose, it doesn't. You don't go. You won't fall out of the NCAA tournament bracketology. You won't. That kind of stuff won't happen. I just think you're building momentum, and to me, it is the big picture look of South Carolina basketball and Lamont Paris.
Sure,
and that to me is what tomorrow is about: is continuing this big picture.
And Georgia's a team that, out of the 3 losses that you have this season, that's the one that if you change 1 or 2 things, and I know they had the missed free throws at the end of the game that really came back to bite them. If you change 1 or 2 things in that game, South Carolina ends up winning. So you have the opportunity to go in there and avenge your loss. Now, Georgia is a team that, when we look at their record, they had Tennessee on the ropes a couple weeks back and let it slip through their fingers. They took Florida to overtime after being down 20 or 30 points in that game. They had a sizable lead on Alabama the other night until they came storming back in the second half. Like, they've been in position to have a much better record than what they currently have. So they're a very good team. I think Mike White's done a really good job in his year and a half out there in Athens. And, you are going to Stegman Coliseum. So that is going to be, obviously a tough task anytime you go in there. But, this team, obviously, as we talk about every time South Carolina plays, they play their game. They limit the mistakes. They should be able to go in there and win.
They should. The way they've played defense. Remember, South Carolina this year is 1-3 when they give up 70 or more points. That's the 3 losses have occurred when they've given up 70 points. And obviously the one that they won was Virginia Tech. So that's the number you're looking at. Keep them under 70 and kind of roll from there. But it's South Carolina basketball, I think, and people out there, 803-404-6100 can correct me. This is, again, one of the high times of South Carolina basketball.
It is. And that was one thing, again, I've been here a little over a year. One thing that really stood out to me when I kind of got ingrained in what we're doing here in last basketball season, which unfortunately didn't go the way that we wanted it to for Lamont Paris in his first year. But you just have this fan base that is just seething and ready to sink its teeth into a really good basketball team. And unfortunately, like you said, hasn't had a lot of success in that way over the years, minus the Final Four run a couple of seasons ago. But seeing that support and everybody, not that people are bandwagon fans or fair weather fans, but being able to say, finally, they're doing what we've been hoping they wanted to do for a long time. And obviously going out to Colonial Life Arena and showing that support as well.
Yeah, Alan, who I don't always agree with, but I appreciate his participation each and every morning, says every game is important, but not the biggest. That's a good way of describing where they're at now.
Sure.
That's a great way of describing it. Alan got one right this morning. It's Friday, but always appreciate him weighing in. But that's a great point that he makes, where this is an important game. It's not the biggest anymore. You've got plenty coming up next week. You've got a 2-game homestand for the Gamecocks. They'll get Mississippi next Tuesday, and then that will be followed up with a Saturday. I'm going to go back and look at the schedule for that. I'm right now taking it literally one game at a time with this team and not trying to look too far ahead. But it's Mississippi next Tuesday night, Colonial Life Arena, 6:30, and then the following Saturday, February the 10th, is the 1:00 game, and then that'll lead into another monster game against Auburn on the road on Valentine's night. So there's your kind of look ahead. But certainly tomorrow, I agree, it's an important game. You win this. And I brought this up a little bit after the Tennessee game on Wednesday. It's okay, I think, to change your expectations a little bit and start looking at, especially after the Kentucky loss on Wednesday, what can South Carolina do to potentially win the regular season title? Kids are still going as well. That's a heck of an accomplishment. And right now, the NCAA tournament would be great. They stay with that. But you put all that focus into winning an SEC regular season title. That's something to really be proud about. We'll talk more about that. We'll get into that a little bit. And also, again, we'll give you the rundown for the schedule in college basketball tomorrow. Should be a really good day. 803-404-6100. That's how you can join us if you choose to do so. You're listening to Tyler Head, Bill Gunner. It's the early game.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV.
Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality.
The Game TV.
Bill Gunner from Mid-State Roofing. I tell you what, we're going into the spring, and what is it? April showers bring May flowers. That's kind of the spring anthem, right? Well, you know what? If you've got showers, you have to worry about your roofs. You got to worry about leak detection. You want to make sure you find any issues that might be out there. And then you got to go with leak prevention. So go ahead, call the commercial leader in the roofing industry, Mid-State Roofing. That's right. With Mid-State Roofing, you know you're getting the absolute best in commercial roofing needs. Give them a phone call today. They have a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week call center, 803-356-1919. Again, that's 803-356-1919. Give them a call today. You will speak with a trained technician 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they will fix any problems that you have. So if you've got a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek and tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. With Ben Johnson deciding to remain in Detroit, Washington tapped Dallas defensive coordinator Dan Quinn as its new commander-in-chief. As Atlanta's head coach in 2016, Quinn's Falcons infamously blew a 28-3 second-half Super Bowl lead to New England. Washington holds the second overall draft pick, plus over $70 million in cap space. I grade this hire a B since Quinn was their second choice, as they really did want Ben Johnson. I'm Boomer Esiason. CBS Sports Radio.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season. I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned...
Patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean. And it's made a difference for you? Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom. Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves? Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text ENERGY to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text ENERGY to 321-321. That's ENERGY to 321-321.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
The early game
With Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Shen Jensen.
your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game.
100.5 The Game in Florence.
Yeah, not good, not good.
Groundhog Day edition of the early game. As we get you up and get you going, we'll have to get Preston's Punxsutawney Phil overrated rant up on the podcast later on for people that missed that. Is he broke down the numbers, Tyler. He broke down the numbers, and Punxsutawney Phil, the numbers are not good. Not good at all. The Nebraska football maybe of the weather predicting world.
He had his day. and the folks around there still cling to his glory, I guess, but around the country and our guy, General Beauregard out in Georgia, putting up better numbers these days.
Just doing much better, rolling along much better. We'll get you some updates from out there. As we've got it live on the visitpa.com website where they are out there. It looks like they're getting closer, Tyler, to being able to pull the I guess the groundhog from its den, I reckon. And
So they pull it. I thought he was supposed to walk out on his own.
nah, they don't put him on a leash. They don't put him on a leash. I believe he's in the den itself, and they pull it out. They pull him out, and yeah, we'll keep you updated. We know you're dying for that information this morning. We know you have to know what's going on with Punxsutawney Phil, so we'll keep you updated on that. 803-404-6100. Do want to tell you about the Balls and Strikes Valentine's Weekend Contest, brought to you by the Hilton Garden Inn. How about that? What is it, Tyler? 3 weeks? No, less than that. Is it two? It's 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today. 14 days.
So the weekend after the Super Bowl.
Oh, big weekend. Matter of fact, I'm looking over at Crosby, England. He's got a big, what is it, B team tryout, River Bluff B team baseball tryouts. Baseball season is almost here, and Hilton Garden Inn wants to get you to the season opening series versus Miami of Ohio. Again, it's the Balls and Strikes Valentine's Weekend Contest, brought to you by the Hilton Garden Inn. It is your chance to win tickets to the season opening series, not just one game, but the series versus Miami of Ohio, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, February 16th through the 18th at Founders Park. You'll get a 2-night stay, Friday and Saturday night, at the Hilton Garden Inn on Gervais Street. We were just down there recently. It's fantastic, fantastic place. The Garden Grill at the Hilton Garden Inn will feed you breakfast and your pregame meal. All you need to do is go to 1075thegame.com to register. So no matter where you live, Florence, Myrtle Beach, or wherever you're listening to us on your app, 1075 The Game app this morning, just go to 1075thegame.com and register. It is the Balls and Strikes Valentine's Weekend Contest, brought to you by Hilton Garden Inn, where you can win tickets to the season opening series versus Miami of Ohio, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, February 16th through the 18th, 2 weeks from today. You get a 2-night stay at the Hilton Garden Inn, Friday and Saturday night, and the Garden Grill will feed you breakfast and a pregame meal. Again, go to 1075thegame.com to register. 803-404-6100. Oh, do we have an answer? I'm being told on our live stream we have failed everybody, and that the Groundhog has already announced. We'll do some research on that. This is where Preston comes in so handy.
This is my first live coverage of a Groundhog Day. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, we got to get you. You got to do the finer things.
That's the thing. Like I mentioned earlier, like as I was coming up, this wasn't like a thing. I remember like maybe talking about it once or twice in like elementary school, but past that, not really. Now, I've seen the movie, obviously.
Trying to read quickly. Trying to live radio at its finest. As of at 7:23, so we missed it. We were for all you people who say we goof off too much and we have way too much fun and we don't talk enough sports. We talked too much sports and we missed the Groundhog Day. We have failed many of you miserably, and we apologize for that. But at 7:23 a.m., surrounded by men in top hats and before a crowd of thousands, the Pennsylvania Groundhog announced that there would be an early spring. Fireworks and singing made up to a prelude of Phil's prediction, with the Star Wars theme blaring over bursting fireworks. According to Punxsutawney Phil, who we've already identified, or Preston identified to be a fraud,
yes,
has announced an early spring.
And the funny thing is, even if he gets this right, it's going to take years of correct predictions in a row to bump those numbers up.
He has to go on a run of correct predictions. So we missed that. We apologize to all of you who tuned in this morning wanting Punxsutawney Phil updates, Groundhog Day discussion, and we inundated you with sports talk discussion. For that, we are thoroughly sorry.
It looks very cold up there.
Yes, another reason I'll never go up there. Terry Ford was trying to convince me on that. That's a bucket list item. I'm not going north after November anymore.
So do you see the name of the town this is being done in?
Is it not Punxsutawney?
On this live stream that I'm watching, it says Gobbler's Knob, Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah, no, that's Gobbler's Knob. That's, I think, like the area that they're
okay.
I think yeah. You have so many things to learn today.
I'm trying, man.
803-404-6100. how you can weigh in this morning if you so choose to do so, as Ray continues to do, and I appreciate him. We just may never take his phone calls again since he accused us of never taking phone calls. Schedule for tomorrow, Tyler, should be a really good day of college basketball. It gets going at noon. I'm telling you, and maybe we'll save a little bit of this for the next hour. I'm in love with college basketball right now. College basketball Saturdays, the last 4 Saturdays have been as good of Saturdays as I can remember. I love college football Saturdays. College basketball Saturdays, I think that's what I meant to say. College basketball Saturdays are as good as I've ever seen it.
Well, and it's even more fun when the team that you're pulling for is also doing well because other games affect you now.
No, it definitely does. And tomorrow, number 1, UConn at St. John's. I mean, that right there, UConn should win the game, but it's at Madison Square Garden. It's noon. It's Fox, and you get Rick Pitino. Oh, Rick Pitino.
He's back from COVID?
I think he was back the last game, I believe. I think he was back. So he should be back tomorrow, but UConn and St. John's tomorrow. We'll give you the whole schedule. Obviously, South Carolina and Georgia at 1 o'clock. And again, if you want to Google it, it's rumors. It's hearsay at this point. Might want to check into what's going on with Arkansas. Let's just say in the 8 a.m. hour, it's still not appropriate to talk about on radio, but you might want to Google and see what's going on in Arkansas and LSU. We'll give you the full rundown. We'll get into some more college basketball. Let you listen to some Lamont Paris and Dawn Staley. You're listening to the early game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Get the right care at the right place. Visit Lexington Medical Center's convenient urgent care centers for minor illnesses and injuries, and use our emergency room for emergencies. Go to lexmed.com/care now to know where to go for the care you need now.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Life matters. Life can be unexpectedly dangerous. Did you know that 60,000 people a year are treated for injuries inflicted while opening canned goods? Are you one of the 8,000 Americans hurt each year by a musical instrument? Isn't it horrible to discover that on average 100 people a year choke to death on ballpoint pens? It can be nerve-wracking just to learn how easy it is to be seriously injured or even killed by everyday objects. Jesus said that we shouldn't be overly concerned about people or things that can hurt us physically or even take our life. And we do live in a violent age, and we need to take necessary precautions to ensure our safety. But the real focus of our attention, according to Jesus, should be the one who has the power of life and death and also has the power to determine our eternal destiny in heaven or hell. That power, my friend, is reserved for God only. This is Pastor Stephen Chitty. Remember, life matters, and so do you.
No one likes to talk about the injuries, pain, disability, and lost loved ones that result from terrible car and tractor-trailer accidents. I'm Jason Reynolds. At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we're honored to be the lawyers our clients rely on during their toughest moments.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When a work injury disrupts your life, I work hard to get you the medical treatment and workers' compensation you depend on.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
At Kroger, shopping with pickup and delivery is the same as shopping in-store. Same low prices, deals, and rewards on the same high-quality items. It's one small click for groceries, one big win for busy families everywhere. Start your cart today at Kroger.com. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Right now, you can save big on 12 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or Canada Dry. Select varieties are $3.99 each with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
It's the Players Club countdown to Gamecock baseball. 14 days till opening day. Step into the future of golf at the Players Club, Columbia's first and only exclusive indoor golf and country club. Visit playersclubsc.com to learn more. The Players Club, where golf meets elegance.
If we continue to consume our natural resources at the rate we do now, by 2050, it could take 3 Earths.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic
is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
All right, let's take another look at your traffic around the Midlands for your ride in this morning. Things are starting to pick up as more and more people get back out onto the roadways. Got a couple little pretty serious accidents going on. I'll get to that in a moment. Do have an obstruction in the roadway, I-20 westbound at Bush River Road right there at exit 63. Covington, some heavy delays going through that area, so be mindful as you go through there. Do have an accident with a right lane blocked also at 277 southbound right there at I-20 as well. And then another accident at Barbara Drive and Two Notch Road. And then one more accident we'll hit on here going a little bit further out to the west side at Augusta Road and I-20. Weather still pretty cold here, creeping up right around 40 degrees. High today is going to get up to 68 for what should be a nice day here around Columbia. And that's your traffic and weather here on the early game.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
Hey, this is South Carolina DQ Smith. You listen to 107.5 The Game, the home of the Gamecocks.
A Cumulus media station.
The early game.
With Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief and the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light, the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. That, folks, is Charles Dickens predicting the Gamecock fate on Saturday. A tale of two halves, Bill.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Interesting way to open the program there with a little Charles Dickinson reading for you. So
I'm sorry, who?
What is his last name? I don't know.
Charles Dickens.
Dickens.
Yeah,
it's not Dickinson?
Not Dickens.
No.
Okay, yeah, I don't read.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
The theme of this show. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
So the Groundhog has officially announced for a early spring. And as I get older, I will admit, if it's not an early spring, I am going to be very, very unhappy with that because I do not handle the cold well. People that listen to this program, people that have been around for a while, they know how much I despise the cold. So 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in on that as we go through, but a lot of discussion this morning, obviously, about or as it pertains to college basketball. Last night, the women pull off the victory over Auburn. They'll be back on the floor on Sunday. Tomorrow, though, the Gamecocks and Georgia play over in Athens, 1 o'clock there. That game on the SEC Network. We'll have the pregame right here, 12:30, 107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. So we'll have plenty going on as it pertains to basketball this weekend. And again, Tyler, as we were just talking about, these Saturdays of college basketball, they've been phenomenal. And I don't really know why, but it's been the early window from noon to about 4. It's not to put down the evening games, but the early window of basketball games. You've had buzzer beaters, you've had upsets, you've had phenomenal games. And tomorrow, again, should be another really fun day. Connecticut and St. John's get going at noon on Fox, and I'll tune into that a little bit because of the Rick Pitino factor and how that game kind of looks. And then obviously 1 o'clock tomorrow, South Carolina at Georgia. And I think Alan said it best. Important game, not a must win.
Sure.
I don't know, and I really don't think it matters anymore, but I don't know if South Carolina win, if they lose that game, if they will be ranked. It just feels like a lot of media members, and again, the media when it comes to covering basketball, I'm not trying to put anybody down, but the effort to pay attention nationwide by the media in college basketball, as opposed to football, is poor at best.
It's definitely, when we talk about AP poll, because it only comes out once a week, so typically you play 2 games between the rankings. It's very much a "what have you done for me lately" kind of thing. So yeah, South Carolina has done a lot to garner national attention, which is good, but you might have a good handful of the AP voters tuning in for the first time in a while, or maybe the first time all season. And if you drop this one to Georgia, say, maybe those 2 games against Kentucky and Tennessee were just flukes, and don't want to give them their votes then. Because again, I mean, they were just on the outside looking in at 26 with 108 votes this past week. But you would think the Tennessee game would be enough to get them over the hump, but beating Georgia would just be a safe enough bet to get them that the rest of the way.
Yeah, and it would be, look, it's great for the program. It's great to have your name up there. And for if recruits are paying attention, if they get on ESPN.com and they pull up the rankings, it's phenomenal. And I'm not saying that you don't care about being ranked anymore. Just do what you do. No, be ranked. But again, what matters the most, and I just checked, Joe Lenardi, I know you said yesterday that what he did, I think, put out a tweet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does, like, before he actually updates the website, he'll put out like a tweet of like, here's who's moved, here's where teams are sitting and what conferences have the most guys in and stuff like that. And obviously the SEC, is always in the area of 8 to 9 teams in, and South Carolina was up to a 6 seed. Georgia's actually on the outside looking in. So this game very important to them in terms of trying to get another quad 1 win against South Carolina.
Yeah, Georgia. This game actually means a lot more to Georgia, by the way. Good point on that. That game means a lot more to Georgia as it pertains to any NCAA hopes than it does for South Carolina. 803-404-6100. Again, if you want to weigh in. One thing I disagree with, Steve weighs in. And look, I've watched college basketball because I played in high school and because of my background with recruiting and having to cover recruiting for ESPN 24/7 Sports, for doing the scouting company that I had and ranking players, which I think is a whole other deal when you start talking about ranking players now that I've learned how it is. He says college basketball has been the same year in, year out, which is a great year, not just this year. I don't know if that's the case as it was. There was a dull period there for college basketball where we went through, and I wouldn't say 20 years.
Sure.
I wouldn't say 20 years, but the one and dones and things that happened with the game in and of itself, and it just wasn't a great product. I think that's changed, though, drastically. And I'm not saying Steve can't. He might have enjoyed it.
Sure.
But I think the overriding majority, like, I think football's in trouble. We'll get through it. It's going to come back.
Hey, football's in a rough place right now.
For some reason, though, it's not affecting basketball in the same manner. I think because kids have the option to go to the NBA if they want to transfer.
And I've heard you bring up this point before that I think the NIL aspect of it has encouraged more guys to stick around. Now, yes, you still have the transfer portal. You have guys hopping around a lot, but the identity of college basketball for a long time before one and dones and all that kind of stuff was being able to have a guy hang around for 3 or 4 years and, quite frankly, be able to generate some hate on the other side of things. And you talk about Leitner when he was at Duke and all that kind of stuff, and people just hating the guy because he was around for so long and that team was so successful. And you haven't been able to do that these past couple of years, with guys being one and dones, the high profile guys at least, where now you do have guys that have a little bit more of incentive. If there may be fringe going to the draft, hey, I'm getting a good NIL deal at the respective school, I'll stick around for another year. And again, that just kind of builds more of the brand and the value of these guys at the college level.
I agree. And so tomorrow, again, UConn St. John's early, South Carolina, Georgia at 1 o'clock. 2 o'clock, Texas and TCU should be a pretty good game. TCU ranked 25th. Texas is a really good team. That game's on ESPN2. Virginia at Clemson. Clemson really kind of needs that one with the way their season's going. They're fine. They're well into the NCAA tournament right now, but at home, Clemson needs to take down Virginia, who's struggling a little bit right now this year. You go into the it's more of the late afternoon evening that we get the great games this week. Should be a really fun one at Fog Allen Fieldhouse. Number 4, Houston. Number 8, Kansas. That game will be on ESPN. If you haven't watched Houston, you just like good up and down, out of control basketball, and I say out of control in a nice way. That one's going to be really, really fun. Kansas has been for Kansas. They've been a little up and down this year, but Houston and Kansas, 4 o'clock on ESPN. And then you fast forward really to tomorrow night where things kind of pick up. By the way, if you want to get a scouting report in, Auburn and Mississippi, 6 o'clock on SEC Network. Mississippi next Tuesday for the Gamecocks. The following Wednesday, Valentine's Day, you get to face Auburn. So if you want to get a little scouting report in, as Preston Thorne had been doing, 6 o'clock SEC Network, Auburn, Mississippi. And then that leads us to 6:30 tomorrow night. Number 7 Duke at number 3 North Carolina.
The rivalry.
I asked Preston this. Preston and I talked about this a little bit. Do you view Duke without Mike Krzyzewski as the same Duke? I don't. Number 7, I think they're overrated.
I don't either. I think there's definitely a intimidation factor when you have one of the greatest coaches of all time at your bench. And not that John Shire's not a good coach and can't lead due to success for years to come. But there's just they're lacking a little bit of the same teeth that they had with Krzyzewski. And again, that's not saying they're a bad program by any means, and they're doing fine this year, an okay season. But they're just not quite the same without him.
803-404-6100, how you can join in this morning. 8:30 tomorrow night, another really good one. Tennessee on the road at Kentucky. Number 5 and number 10.
We recently got beat by South Carolina game.
Yes, basically to be South Carolina's little brother game. I agree. The little brother game. Number 5 and number 10 tomorrow night, Tennessee and Kentucky. So that's kind of your rundown.
Can I throw out one that I'm very interested in?
Yeah.
2:00, Texas goes to TCU. Think there gonna be some horns down going on in the stands in this game?
Did you see what TCU has done?
I did see what
Go
TCU
ahead,
has
explain
done.
what TCU has done.
So they are there's a work to get some horns down T-shirts going to the student section, potentially to cover all of it. We saw what happened last weekend at BYU, or the weekend before, whenever it was at BYU, where they had the front row that they were like, hey, better change that. And the school itself, not Texas, school itself might have changed that. You have a tougher time if you're talking about hundreds and hundreds of students partaking in this.
Is there a softer fan base than Texas?
No.
And for some reason, it begins to permeate into their coaching staff, because there's no reason a coach should ever mention.
No.
Like,
and especially if you get beat, like Central Florida did to them, as long as you're not being vulgar about it, you should be able to do whatever you want. You just won the game. And Rodney Terry's not done himself any favors with, and they tried to backtrack with it and clarify, but that didn't make it sound any better. The best thing to do right now would just be to shut up about it. I am glad that Greg Sankey was like, yeah, we're not going to give any special provisions in the SEC. We're not about that, because they're going to deal with a lot of hostility next year.
Yeah, they're going to have to toughen up real quick. And you know what? Of all the football fan bases are rough, the basketball fan bases are rough. Texas is going to have a really rough go of it in the SEC in baseball, because SEC fan bases in baseball.
Yeah,
there's a great story former baseball pitching coach Jerry Meyer tells about going to LSU one time and hearing, let's just say, some inappropriate language coming from the other side of the wall. And when he peered around, it was like a 12-year-old
that sounds
kid,
about right.
like giving them the business. And Jerry Meyer said he leaned around just as he was going. He goes, I wondered where the mom or the parents were. He goes, the mom's sitting right there next to him.
It was encouraging.
And he
him.
said, I just kind of came back around my own side of the wall and took a step even further back.
It just means more.
803-404-6100. We'll play you a little Lamont Paris, get back into that game. When we come back, you're listening to Tyler Head, Bill Gunner. It's the early game.
Got something to say?
Ring us up on the Love Chevy phone line. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer.
At 803-404-6100.
Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
You know, for men, as we turn 40, you got to learn to take care of yourself. We too often tend to just shrug things off and believe that we'll be perfectly fine. I know I do that a lot, but if you've been having issues lately, if you've been struggling with concentration, the old brain fog, maybe you've had trouble sleeping of late, weight gain, or even difficulty losing, it's time to go see Dr. Dan Balknight at the Men's Clinic. You can set up an appointment today, 803-875-MENS. Maybe you just have a problem with low T and you need a free testosterone test. The Men's Clinic and Dr. Dan Balknight can provide that. Get your appointment lined up today. 803-875-MENS is how you can do that. Don't try and tough it out. Don't think that you'll be perfectly fine. You know what? They have a great individualized medical plan that can take care of your needs, and it's a no-contract, pay-as-you-go system. So contact the Men's Clinic today, 803-875-MENS, or for more information, visit them on the web, mensclinicsc.com.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Discover Herndon Certified. Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence, knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The 6th Annual Driving Down Maine Virtual Golf Tournament, hosted by the United Way of the Midlands, February 5th and 6th at the Players Club on 1626 Main Street. Proceeds benefit 17 Midlands elementary schools. Register your team at uway.org/DDM. Save 20% with promo code DDM6 $. All lowercase in one word. It's the United Way of the Midlands Driving Down Maine Virtual Golf Tournament, February 5th and 6th at the Players Club. Register today at uwa.org/DDM.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing. And for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing
another one at I-77 southbound, right at exit number 16 at I-20, and a couple on the west side of town, that one being right there at Augusta Road and I-20. So be careful through there as well. It is still 39 degrees. High today going to be 68 here in Columbia. That's your traffic and weather here on the early game.
Message Board Mayhem, sponsored by the Miles Agency. Call for a free quote today, 803-798-4600. The early game
with Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Shen Jensen.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
.817 as we roll along on a Friday morning, February 2nd, Groundhog Day. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're up and at 'em as we get you going here. A lot to get into in just about 40 minutes to do it is the
countdown for the big weekend. This is look, every weekend, Tyler, you would agree, is a big weekend for South Carolina. I agree. It's not the most important weekend, but a big game tomorrow. As we said, Georgia is a good basketball team. Tomorrow's contest is one I have not looked, as I say this out loud. I know ESPN's, predicted to win index has Georgia like 58.9, I believe, 58.1, something like that.
Correct.
And so with all that in mind, I'm guessing Georgia will be a slight, ever so slight, maybe 1, 2, 3 point favorite at absolute most.
Yeah, probably so. And let me see, pull it up here, see what the latest spread on this game is. Georgia is had it a second ago. Okay, never mind. I don't see it.
Not there. They've taken it off the board. Who knows what will happen? Georgia, by the way, will come into this game 14-7 overall, 4-4 in conference play. They are 11-2 at home, and that one of those losses coming this past week against Alabama. One of the key things for tomorrow. Now, I don't think it is, or maybe we don't view it as big of a key as we did, but is the play of Meechie Johnson, who is just 1 for his last 17. Tyler. Meechie has been on a bit of a cold streak. He does need to play better. They're not going to go undefeated the rest of the way in conference, and they're going to struggle to still win games, but they have proven they can win games when Meechie isn't playing. And last night, Carolina calls. Lamont Paris talked a little bit about that.
And that's a great thing to have multiple guys that can handle the ball. You also throw Jacoby Wright in there as a guy that's really comfortable running the offense and handling the ball. But it's nice that those guys, especially if you want to talk about Meechie, is that he doesn't feel the pressure that he's got to go out there and score 20 points or we're not going to win.
Right.
But then two, just to be able to just dive into the role of a facilitator when maybe his shot's not going in the way that he would like it to, and still made a couple here or there. But to get in there, a couple of our biggest baskets he generated off of penetration to the middle, drew a crowd, and then kicked to wide open guys. I think Miles was a beneficiary once, and then the other one was Talon.
Yeah, the big one at the
end of the game. Yeah. But so just to be positive and confident enough that you can continue to help the game as a rebounder, as a facilitator, as a creator for others, that keeps you locked in and focused on what you're doing versus the only way you can help is to put the ball in the basket. And today it's not going into the basket. Well, then, I probably got to find a new guy on that day. So it was good that he was still able to contribute.
Meechie is a guy who I think we now all understand he's either going to be relatively on and help you win a game, or you just prefer he not take any shots because it's not going to be his. Now, there doesn't seem to be a middle ground for him as to whether he can help you or not. Now, give him credit. I will say this for everybody's like, oh my goodness, he was awful the other night. He didn't play good. He was 1 of 7. He rebounded exceptionally well. 6 rebounds the other night. Thought he did a pretty solid job defensively, helping shut down the Tennessee guards. Remember, Dalton Connect scores 31 points. He did need to do it on 24 shots,
right?
But Dalton Connect scores half of their points. It's not like Tennessee's other guards did anything to help their team.
Yeah, no. And for Meechie, look, we know he's been a streaky guy, even going back to last season where he was on one game and off the next game. But, this year you have more parts and pieces around him that can kind of pick up the slack. Well, he doesn't have his best night. And like you said, he did step up defensively with his rebounds and the assists as well the other night. So he is finding a way to contribute, even if the points aren't quite where you want them to be. But the thing I like about Meechie is, and you see his demeanor on the bench, on the sidelines, even when he's having a bad night, he's still engaged. He's still in the huddle, still, trying to be that leader on the team. So he's not too swayed by having a bad performance, but we definitely want to see him get back on track, especially with the tough games he's got coming up.
Let's do this. Let's put a wrap on the Tennessee game. We can do this. The team had to move on sometime Wednesday. We could continue to party and celebrate until today. But Lamont Paris last night talking about this win over Tennessee, the first victory over a top 5 team on the road since 1997, March 2nd, 1997, when South Carolina went into Rupp Arena and knocked off Kentucky. Here's Lamont Paris's kind of final thoughts, and then we'll really shift our attention to Georgia. But here's Lamont Paris's final thoughts on the Tennessee victory.
Yeah, that was good. That was rewarding. We talk about reaching milestones and doing certain things, and so to beat a team like that, they're also veteran team.
Yes.
Right. And So they're experienced in their style of play. They're physical and strong and tough. And so for us to be able to, on some levels, avenge what happened. I mean, last year I think they beat us by a combined in the 2 games was almost 100 points.
And it was over 80. I know that.
Yeah. So it was great from a program standpoint to be able to go toe to toe with those guys on their floor and play in a way that you played your style of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
You played your game, and were able to come out with a win in a game that you led most of the time.
That's actually the big thing, is that they played their style. They forced their style of basketball onto Tennessee, and they did it. That's not fluke. That's not a fluke, because they did that to Kentucky a week and a half ago. They forced their style of basketball onto Kentucky, who was averaging over 90 points a game. You held them to 62. You had Tennessee come in averaging 78 points per game. You held them to 59. What he just said is something, and again, this is why I think we have to really give Lamont Paris a lot of credit for coaching. We give BJ Mack credit for making threes, and Talon Cooper controlling the game, and Zach Davis playing defense and against Dalton Connect. Give Lamont Paris X's and O's in forcing his style of play on Tennessee and Kentucky.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the biggest key going into all these games is, especially when you go up against those up-tempo teams, is can South Carolina play their style of game? And it helps when you get out to the lead early on like South Carolina did. Now, Tennessee did storm back and take the lead briefly there, later on in the first half. But if South Carolina can slow the game down, they can kind of bring these other teams into the mud for a fist fight for 40 minutes, and you feel like South Carolina's got a really good shot. And they did that for the most part in the first half against Alabama. They just came out cold in the second half, and Alabama got way too far out in front to where South Carolina had to pick up their pace, and that's just not what they're as good at doing. So, yeah, another key for tomorrow, a Georgia team that likes to play, a little fast. They're on the upper end of the SEC when it comes to tempo, and they shoot the 3 ball pretty well. Like, they're going to try and speed the game up. And it's going to be a key for South Carolina to try and slow it down.
That is the Tyler Head scouting report for Georgia. Now, here's what Lamont Paris had to say last night about scouting Georgia.
Honestly, a lot of times it comes down to why you think you struggled or what the successes that the other team had. Was that something strategic and schematic, or was that some other things? And right, 18, you don't draw up some sort of play or have a different strategy to get 18 second chance rebounds, right? Offensive rebounds. That's just, you have to just do a better job of blocking out. So I think you look at it and see what you could tweak if there was something that really bothered you. There really wasn't a lot. They're out of bounds unders. I think they got 7 points on out of bounds unders, particularly when the guy that Colin Murray Boyles was guarding came off of and got 5 points on corner jump shots. And so that's one thing that we'll look at tweaking. I think their big guy got Chiwa got off offensively against us. So we'll look at trying to get the ball out of his hands and see what he looks like as a passer early in the game, possibly. But for the most part, most of it is pretty straightforward, pretty straightforward. So I think we just have to play better, honestly.
That's Lamont Paris last night. Carolina Calls right here, 107.5 The Game, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And it'll be a lot of fun. And I'm sorry if I sound stupid with this, but it is a lot of fun to see South Carolina being competitive and giving you a reason, not being like, oh yeah, the game's on at 1. Maybe I'll catch it. Maybe I'll throw it on. I don't know. Maybe we'll go get something to eat somewhere and watch the game. To have them right now where you almost make it appointment television, where if you've got, like in Crosby's case, you've got River Bluff baseball tryouts. If you've got basketball games tomorrow, your son or daughter's got a basketball game. If you're looking around, you're like, man, we're going to miss the game. You're going to have to watch it on my phone.
Yeah, that's a good problem to have.
That is a cool thing to have right now for South Carolina basketball.
Because I think once we got to about mid to end of conference play last year, it was definitely the like, yeah, they're playing. I'll see if they can hang in there for the first 10 minutes of this one, and then find something else to do after that.
Unfortunately, you're being very generous with mid to late. I would say it was mid January to late January. You're like, oh, they play tomorrow? What? Huh? Okay, we'll catch them.
Check the box score afterwards, see how bad they got beat, and move on.
It's a lot better problem to have now. 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in. Maria sends in an email and just asked about student seating behind the bench. It says, do the students have designed seating areas? And if they do, it's hard to tell. Yeah, they have. I think you're thinking of the Kentucky game where they where everybody wore all black, but the students are seated kind of around the court, but across from the bench. I guess it's half. It's dead across. And if you're sitting behind the South Carolina bench, the students are seated across and to your left and down behind the goal that way. So yeah, they do have for basketball, they have assigned seating for the students. 803-404-6100. We'll get into a little bit of NFL talk. Jim Harbaugh is back and saying things. We'll let you listen to a little bit of that. And yes, we will break down big playoff matchup tonight in Lexington Rec League basketball. We'll let the boys break that down as well. 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game.
Download the 107.5 The Game app and listen anywhere. The beach, the gym, and yes, even there. Go to iTunes or Google Play and snag the 107.5 The Game app.
2024, and it's in with the new, especially at Love Chevrolet, and they have lots of new Tahoes, Suburbans, Camaros, and even those red-hot Silverados that are constantly flying out of the lot. If your favorite color is, let's just say, garnet, well, guess what? You're going to find it at Love Chevrolet, where they have 14 acres of brand new Chevys, and they're ready for you to drive home today. And all that means, all that inventory means that the selection and savings are absolutely unparalleled, and you're guaranteed to save money with the $1,000 low price guarantee. So go visit Love Chevrolet, the family that has taken care of our families for over 60 years, doing it with incredible customer service, the absolute best prices available, and of course, absolute selection that is second to none. Get out to Love Chevrolet today, I-26 in Harbison, between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, and together, let's drive.
With over 100 online casino-style games, Chumba Casino is your go-to destination for nonstop entertainment. Play for fun and play for free at ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void or prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Up to 40% of the air in your HVAC system is wasted due to leaky ductwork. Cool Care Heating, Air, Plumbing, and Refrigeration will fix these leaks with AeroSeal duct sealing. Cool Care can save you up to 30% on your utility bills, make your house more comfortable, and your air healthier. Call Cool Care Heating, Air, Plumbing, and Refrigeration today at 803-772-7715 or visit CoolCareHVAC.com to get a free estimate.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? I'm Dr. Mark Bentley with Columbia Secret for Weight Loss, and I know the secret. Our unique weight loss program makes it easy to lose weight, get healthy, and get your energy back naturally, safely, and effectively. If you'd like to lose unhealthy fat without counting points or calories, no exercising, no prepackaged or boxed meals, no surgery, and no hypnosis, call my office now at 803-999-3020.
Lee, location at the Columbia Secret for Weight Loss.
We had some health scares with other members of our family. We knew that we needed to get healthier. Lost 20 pounds in a month. I'm happy about that and still progressing and using the lessons and the things learned from Columbia Secret for Weight Loss to help me in my journey.
Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month. That's a half a pound to a pound per day. For your free private weight loss consultation, call 803-999-3020. That's 803-999-3020 or ColumbiaSecretForWeightLoss.com.
It seems like everywhere you look right now, someone is sick. This year, prepare your family for airborne invaders like bacteria, pollen, and yes, germs with Navage Nasal Care. Navage flushes ultra-pure, refreshing saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out of the other nostril. Navage sucks out viruses, dust, and other airborne particles, all the stuff that gets trapped in your nose, making you miserable. Don't get caught empty-handed this winter. Get Navage, the drug-free solution that helps you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier. Even better, Navage is HSA, FSA eligible, so Navage is a great way to spend those funds before they expire. Don't wait a minute longer. Buy Navage today and you'll breathe easier knowing you're putting your funds to good use. Navage is available online at Navage.com or Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
Nothing says I love you like a clean home. This Valentine's Day, call the cleaning pros at Zerorez right now. Mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for $109, plus a free hallway. Book online at zeroescolumbia.com.
1075 The Game is giving one local business a free 30-second commercial on our Westwood One broadcast of the Super Bowl. Go to 1075thegame.com. Tell us why your business deserves an ad that will reach sports fans across the Midlands. One entry per business must be submitted by February 7th at 5 p.m. Official rules at 1075thegame.com. WIS-TV First Alert Traffic
Is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
And now another look at your traffic around the Midlands for your ride in this morning. Things are still very, very slow in the area of I-20 westbound, right there at exit number 63 at Broad River Road, as there is still an object in the roadway that is causing heavy delays through that area. So be careful as you're driving through there. Saw the accident also out at Barbara Drive and Two Notch Road, and still another accident that is at Augusta Road, that is Highway 1 right there at I-20 as well. Quick one more peek at the weather here. Still pretty cold outside as we finally crept into the 40s, 41 degrees currently here in Columbia. High today is going to get up to 68. Hopefully it's going to be a nice day that you can enjoy. And that's your look at traffic and weather here on the early game.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Reminder for you to go to 1075thegame.com and register. For what, you ask? Well, it's easy. The Balls and Strikes Valentine's Weekend Contest, brought to you by the Hilton Garden Inn. It's your chance to win tickets to the season opener for South Carolina 2 weeks from today versus Miami of Ohio. Friday, Saturday, Sunday tickets, February 16th through the 18th at Founders Park. You can also get a 2-night stay, or you will also win a 2-night stay Friday and Saturday night at the Hilton Garden Inn on Gervais Street. The Garden Grill at the Hilton Garden Inn will feed you breakfast and your pregame meal. All you need to do is go to 1075thegame.com to register. You can win whether you're listening in Florence, Myrtle Beach, or wherever you're listening on the 1075 The Game app. Just go to the website, 1075thegame.com, and register. You'll win a pair of tickets to the season opening series. So not just one game, all 3 games, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, plus a 2-night stay at the Hilton Garden Inn, Friday night, Saturday night, and the Garden Grill at the Hilton Garden Inn will feed you breakfast and your pregame meal. Again, to win, go to 1075thegame.com to register. And don't forget, if I'm thinking correctly, Tyler, today, 10:45. So during your next show, you'll get a slight break. We will be playing the Shane Beamer press conference as he introduces new special teams coordinator, Joe D. Camillus.
That is correct. 10:45 till whenever they're done talking. And we know that Beamer can talk, and we'll finally learn if D. Camillus has the wind that Pete Limbo had when it came to the mic, because Limbo, you ask him one question, he could go for 40 minutes. So we'll see if D. Camillus lives up to that.
D. Camillus, as I was saying, strikes me as a football guy. He's going to get up there. It's going to be short, sweet, to the point. He's ready to get back to the whiteboard.
Clayton White is notoriously known for his short answers. Dal Loggins expands on a lot of things, or really going in depth. And Clayton White's like, we did this, we did that. That's why we did it. And on to the next one.
I got a feeling that will be Coach D. Camillus, and that will be his role. But you can hear that right here coming up today, 10:45. I'm sure some other things will be addressed. I would imagine today, unless I have missed it, Tyler, I imagine today we will also get the start date and maybe the spring game date from Shane Beamer. I know that they've already have that set.
Sure.
They've just not put it out publicly. So I also would imagine that we'll find out what day next month they start. It really, and it's probably 30 days away. Typically, he's done the first 2 practices before college spring break, and then when they come back, they get into the pads.
Yeah, I know he alluded to it the last time when he was introducing Coley and Blackwell, but he didn't have specific dates on it. I think he said the spring game was maybe like the last weekend in April. And so you kind of backtrack on when spring football would start. So yeah, we're not all that far away from it, potentially coming right around a little over a month from now. So it's crazy because, the season just ended, and that's our next point that we're looking forward to as far as football goes. And After that, obviously, the transfer portal opens up for the spring window, and then it's on to the summer, and boom, the season will be here.
Yeah, and again, I don't know what I think after this year, I don't know what we will exactly learn during the spring. I don't know what we learn, what we, the media and the fans learn, because we're not going to be able to watch any of the 14 practices. We'll see the spring game, but that's
Sure.
always very vanilla. And quite frankly, I don't know if I have any energy to go into this and start hyping any player.
Well, here's a lesson you can take for any year. There's going to be a handful, 3 or 4 guys that get talked about a lot in the spring, through the summer, even through camp. Hey, these guys are going to come in. They're going to be big-time contributors. I think like Elijah Caldwell, who got a lot of recognition for what he was doing through camp leading up to the season, did virtually nothing on the field this fall. And then, or last
I don't even
fall.
know. Did he play us? Did he over under on snaps 5?
He may have gotten out there on special team stuff, but nothing to my knowledge. Nothing notable, at least. And then there's going to be guys that nobody talks about, and whether that be through injury or just for their own performance, get out there and do contribute. And obviously, we know he had a litany of injuries on the offensive line that forced a lot of guys into playing that we didn't think were going to be playing so soon. So you can never gauge these kind of things. It really just takes till you get out on the field and actually see things in action and see how the season progresses to really know who the guys are going to be.
Normally I think in years past you would have been really, really excited about, say, Dylan Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we've seen what spring games have become.
Sure.
And that's why I don't know. And this is why I go back. I know you wouldn't have seen Dylan Stewart, but this is why for everybody who says, bowl games aren't that important anymore. This is why bowl games are important, is because if you're not in the college football playoff, and especially this will become even, in my opinion, will become even more true as you move forward. Your bowl game becomes your spring game because it's against another opponent. Your seniors are already, most of them are already going to opt out. The ones that are definitely draft eligible are going to say goodbye. And this is your chance to play your younger guys. How much would have South Carolina benefited? It's too late to know and obviously to discuss really, but how much would have South Carolina benefited to make any Birmingham Bowl? Just the Birmingham,
Sure.
the awful Birmingham Bowl.
The low end of bowl games. Yeah, no, it would have absolutely benefited for them. And, Spencer Rattler would have had a decision to make on whether he was going to play or opt out. And I don't think anybody would have blamed him if he would have opted out, but that would have given us 4 quarters of Lenore Sellers to get in there and see, hey, what's this guy really made of?
I would go back, and I said this and people got all offended, but I said that if they had made a bowl game, you actually kind of shove Spencer Rattler out the door.
Mm-hmm.
You thank him for every day. If you were playing in a mega bowl, if you were playing in like the Citrus Bowl or but South Carolina at that time, let's use what we thought, 5 and 6. And if they'd have beaten Clemson, you were 6 and 6. You weren't going to a mega bowl.
No.
And there was no benefit for Spencer Rattler to play.
Right.
And that's why I said it would have benefited the program more for Lenora Sellers to play in that game, even if you lose.
Yeah.
Even if you lose, that's irrelevant. Honestly, I'm not trying to sell anybody on wins and losses and bowl games are important. What I am selling you on, that's a month where Lenora Sellers would have taken starters reps. It was his team. He has to learn to communicate as the starter, as the guy, and then he gets this exhibition game to go out and play. And if he stinks, you have 9 months to watch that film and go be better.
And in the same way, assuming everything would have progressed the way that it did, you still would have had Juice Wells going in the transfer portal, like Xavier Leggett might have opted out knowing, hey, he was going to get drafted pretty high. So you would have said, okay, well, now Nick Harbor, Tyshawn Russell, these guys are going to be our top guys for this game. How do they come in and perform, when called upon? And you would have gotten to learn a lot about them too.
Yeah, that to me is what is the part of the bowl game. That's a discussion we'll have more next year, especially if South Carolina does become bowl eligible. But again, coming up in about 2 hours from now, you can tune right back in here and you will catch Shane Beamer 10:45 this morning as he introduces special teams coordinator Joe D. Camillus, and we get that going for you right here on 107.5 The Game, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach, 100.5 The Game in Florence. We'll come back. We'll see what our guests. I just found out that after this is over, they get the rest of the day off. So we're going to make them do some work.
Them.
Yeah, we're going to make them do some work here when we come back. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Tyler Head. It's the early game.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV.
Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality.
The Game TV.
Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing. You heard me talking about it earlier. April showers bring May flowers. April showers also bring leaks in your roof, and you don't want that to happen, you need to contact the company that for nearly 30 years has been the leader in the commercial roofing industry, and that is Mid-State Roofing. Give them a phone call today and speak with a trained technician. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week is their call center. 803-356-1919. Again, it's 803-356-1919. It doesn't matter whether you call them at 3 a.m. in the morning, 7 a.m., or in the afternoon. Somebody will speak with you, and they'll help you with any issues and problems that you have. So don't wait another day. Call Mid-State Roofing. Those spring showers are just around the corner. And whether it's high-rises, hospitals, manufacturing, industrial, Mid-State Roofing's designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee. 803-356-1919. If you've got a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek.
This is Palmer and Stein with the CBS Sports Minute. Today's birthday shout-out goes to George Toma. The 95-year-old sod father worked his 57th and final Super Bowl last year. I can't take it anymore, Toma said after Kansas City beat Philly. Me and the league are finished. Toma, who started groundskeeping at age 12, claimed the league caused last year's slick footing by overwatering and undersanding the field. Now that's getting into the weeds. I'm Palmer and Stein. CBS Sports Radio.
3 little words no parent wants to hear.
My tummy hurts.
And it always seems to happen at the worst times. Like in the middle of the morning rush, when you still have homework to check and lunches to pack, and of course, you're already late for work. Luckily, there's Pepto Kids. Pepto Kids gummies help relieve occasional stomach upsets, turning those 3 words into these 3 words.
I feel better.
Bad time for stomach upsets? Good time for Pepto Kids gummies. Fast support for little tummies.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Mid-State Roofing. And for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Mid-State Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Mid-State Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Mid-State Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Mid-State Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Mid-State Twins.
If you have a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek.
The Early Game with Bill Gunter.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
And Jen Jensen, your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
.846 as we wrap things up here on a Friday morning. Bill Gunner, Tyler Head. We will all be back on Monday, and we'll recap the weekend it was. Tyler, I don't know. Do you enjoy this weekend? Is this a weekend? No Pro. I'm not doing the Pro Bowl. And by the way, you had Pro Bowl updates very quickly. You were fully invested in dodgeball last night?
I was not fully invested. I did watch a little bit of it before the women's game came on last night. It was the, I forget the name, the thing they call it, where they're basically fielding punts off the jug machine with balls in their hands. And like every time you catch it, you have to keep those same amount of footballs for the next time you go out there just to see like more and more, who can stay the longest with catching those. It was interesting. I will say this, the commentary was a panel of Laura Rutledge, Orlovsky, Spears, RG3, and the Manning brothers. and they were all talking over each other the entire time, reacting to what was happening. You couldn't understand what was being said. I'm like, let's maybe trim this down to 2 or 3 people and make it sound a little bit better. But it looked like the players were having fun, which at the end of the day, I guess is the most important thing. And the old Pro Bowl where it was a traditional football game was awful to watch. So I'm glad at least they made something that was entertaining. I'm likely not going to be tuning in for the flag football game, but if that's your cup of tea, go for it.
Yeah, I got to admit, I accidentally stumbled across it and quickly made every effort I could to turn the channel. But unless that is your thing this weekend, it'll be the first weekend without football, and then next weekend Super Bowl. We'll have a lot of coverage for you. We even give you a breakdown of how to properly grill some barbecue or do some barbecue, I guess, depending on what you're going to do. And Preston's got a special guest lined up for that. Real quick, let me tell you about John Ecton Law Firm. You know what? 2024, IRS is getting a little more serious. Right now, they are going to send out their dreaded notices of intent to levy this year. And if you've received this notice from the IRS, you or your business, you might be in a little bit of trouble. But you know what? There's someone there to help you. John Ecton and his team, the Ecton Law Firm, and you can get a free consultation today. You don't need to live a stress-filled 2024. You don't want to deal with that stress. You need to call today for the free consultation. 803-771-9800. John Ecton has a local team dedicated to resolving your income or business tax issues for good. They understand the challenges you face, and that's why his team is ready to offer you peace of mind that you deserve with local solutions. 803-771-9800. You can visit them on the web, ectonlawfirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Call the John Ecton Law Firm today, 803-771-9800. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. So it's Groundhog Day.
Yes, it is.
The Groundhog didn't see its shadow, so it predicted early spring.
That is correct.
Early spring. Okay. Apparently, that was not the only thing happening today. I was not aware of this. I do remember scheduling this, but I did not know today is National Job Shadowing Day. There you go. Turn your mics on, just like I taught you. Show everybody that I know what I'm talking about. Good job. Excellent job. So we're joined again. Introduce yourself. We'll start with Gavin. Gavin, introduce yourself. What school are you at? What grade are you in? We'll ask, what is your, you got to do this here. Name, grade, school, favorite sports team, favorite sports player.
Okay. My name is Gavin Guarino. I go to Meadow Glen Middle School. I'm in 7th grade, and my favorite sports team is the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh.
And my favorite sport is baseball.
Okay. You got a favorite player real quick?
Jalen Hurts.
Oh, okay. Eagles fan, Jalen Hurts. You're next up over there.
My name is Crosby England. Go to Meadow Glen Middle School. I'm in 7th grade, and my favorite team is probably the Browns. And favorite player is probably Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb. Okay, so NFL guys in here, and both of you are trying out for River Bluff 7th grade. Was it B team baseball tomorrow? All right. What position do you play, Crosby?
I play catcher and shortstop.
Catcher and shortstop. Gavin?
Outfield and pitcher.
Outfield and pitcher. All right. Browns and Eagles fan is what we've discovered here. Disappointing season for the Eagles, Gavin. Give me now. We got this is your true on the job shadowing right now. You got to. I need about a 30-second breakdown of what went wrong with the Eagles this year.
So at the beginning we were doing good, and then we kind of just fell off. But the reason is because there's so much drama going on in the locker room, and I really don't know, but we just fell apart. Yeah.
So real quick then, Nick Sirianni, should he have been retained, or was it time to move on?
I think he should have been retained. He deserves another chance.
Very good. You're very good. You learned a lot today. Crosby, Browns. Joe Flacco this year steps in. Do we keep Joe Flacco? Do we move on to another quarterback, or do we give Deshaun Watson another year?
You sign Joe Flacco on another year contract, but you start Deshaun Watson just in case he gets hurt. You got Joe Flacco.
Oh, Tyler, do you think Joe Flacco is willing to sit behind Deshaun Watson?
Oh, that's a debate there. I think he only came back to play, but I mean, that'd be a good serviceable backup to have if he can avoid falling asleep on the bench.
That's true. He's up there in age. This Browns franchise, they've struggled. What do they got to do to be a Super Bowl contender next year?
Well, in the playoffs, half of our defense was hurt. We can't have Nick Chubb get hurt. we would have beat the Texans if we had Nick Chubb. We just have to stay healthy.
What have they beaten the Texans with Nick Chubb? It was
They
CJ
might
Stroud
have.
was pretty good. I don't know if
Now,
you'd have.
I'll ask a follow-up on that. Nick Chubb suffered another serious injury to his knee and leg like he did in college. What's your concern about him coming back at 100%?
I don't know. I feel like he might not be 100% ever again.
It's a good job, guys. Gavin, what surprised you the most about coming here today? What was the thing that surprised you the most about being here? About what we do. Was there something you didn't expect here that you can tell the people, like, wow, they actually do that?
No, not really.
No, not really. Okay. This is an easy job. You expected everything. Crosby, anything that caught you off guard today?
The going upstairs and seeing the office, all the business side of it.
Okay.
They're the people that do the real work.
The people that actually have to work. I totally understand that. So tonight, we have a big playoff game. Gavin plays on our team. He plays for, what are we, the Cougars? Okay, we're the Cougars.
Bill, you should know your own team's name.
I'm like Aaron Lucas. Aaron yesterday didn't even know they were ranked in the 3A girls poll. We play Crosby's team, the Tar Heels. Crosby, I'll start with you. What does the Tar Heels have to do tonight to get the win over Gavin and I's Cougars team?
Well, y'all have a bunch of depth and have a lot of point guards. So you have to keep our big man down low and feed him the ball. And we have to get offensive rebounds.
It's a good breakdown. Gavin, what does our team have to do to advance to the second round of the playoffs?
So we got to keep our defense how it's been.
Hold on, real quick. By the way, Gavin's probably terrified because now he's looking at me like, what did Coach say at practice on Thursday? What did Coach say Monday night? What is our keys to the? Go ahead. All right, what is it?
Anyways, our defense has been amazing, so we just need to keep that up. And we need to, like, on a breakaway or something, we need to look up the court more and try and find more open passes because we get a lot of steals. So I think we could be able to score a lot off of that.
Big playoff game. 9 o'clock. You guys can invite people. 9 o'clock, Lexington Leisure Center. We get the primetime game. You guys ready? Were both of you ready?
Yeah.
All right, what's the plan for the rest of the day now that you're off?
Go eat.
Go eat. It's a good strategy. Yes, we did bring donuts. We thank you for that. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us this morning. You guys are thrilled. Yeah, they're tired. They're ready to go. Tyler, man, it's been a blast the last 2 days. Hopefully Jen is better.
Hopefully.
And you and I will see each other, I think, next Wednesday. We'll be together a little bit or Tuesday for that show. Y'all have a great weekend. Enjoy it. We'll talk to you on Monday morning.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we know how serious injuries change people's lives. I'm Jason Reynolds. When you're involved in a major car or truck accident, my team is on your side. You don't have to be alone. Let's do this together.
And I'm Steven Samuels. When you're hurt at work, my team is with you from start to